picking it up too.
NASDAQ 61. The S&P 500 declined 90. More on .com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gordon's and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A new police chief for Bakersfield. I'm Chris Davis. His name is Brett Stratton, and he's been with the department for more than 20 years. The new appointment takes effect May 1st. Stratton is filling the position after the retirement of Chief Greg Terry. Right now, Stratton oversees field services and special operations. The department, though, says he has experience with the SWAT team, internal affairs, patrol, and even the gang unit. California gas has gone up again. Gas Buddy reports the average price in the state today is $4.83. A car hit the back of a semi-truck and burst into flames just before 5 this morning south of Shafter on Highway 43 near Orange Street, killing the driver of that Toyota Corolla, says the Highway Patrol. It is not clear yet how fast the Corolla was going. The driver was pinned inside there and couldn't get out. It is unknown right now if drugs or alcohol were a factor in that wreck. No name has been released. A new scam, and this time it's directed at customers of Southern California Edison Electric, which does serve people here in Central California. The company has a recording of one of the calls where the scammer says the person is late paying their bill and has to come up with $300 in 30 minutes or they get cut off. Southern California Electric says you can feel free to contact them to check it out if you get one of those calls. If you graduated Bakersfield College in 2025, you may have a typo on your diploma. If so, the college says they are automatically sending out new diplomas to those grads. If you graduated in 23 or 24, you can fill out a form to send in and get a new diploma if there is a mistake. The president of the college says you should be able to be proud to display that hard-earned document. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. But a bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on a glorious, beautiful, wonderful, ecstatic Friday. Go ahead, tell them, Chris. Tell them why I am so fabulous, so glorious, so incredibly joyous and relieved on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Tell him, Chris, tell him.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Why are you this gay?
Are you serious? Are you serious right now? You have no clue why I would be suddenly elated.
Oh, you got your money on this?
I got my money. I got my money. I got my money back. Oh, it's a wonderful world, is it not? I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I'll tell you the story. I talked about it last Wednesday, a week ago, because I am one of the biggest idiots you'll ever want to meet. But we got a busy show, and we'll get to that in just a second. Rick Bentley's going to be at the bottom of the hour, as per usual. Then in the 5 o'clock, we're off to Abu Dhabi. We're going to talk with one of the pillars of Honor Flight, Charlie Wilmot, and his wife, Mary, are stuck in Abu Dhabi. I don't know geographically if they are in harm's way, but just to be stuck in a foreign country that close to what's going on has to be incredibly scary. We'll talk with Charlie. They laid Jesse Jackson to rest today in the city of Chicago, where they had a celebration of life, at least. And it's amazing to me how people can use a funeral to talk about their own lives. And I'll be honest, because I got the rundown done early. I was so excited today. Because I'm telling you, for about 10 minutes there, Chris, for about 10 minutes, you were about to run a best of. For 10 minutes, you were going to run a best of. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll call JR. I'll be straight up with him. I'll tell him what's going on. And then I'm going to go to BCC and hit a bucket of balls, go in the sand trap, work on my sand game, come back, take a shower. Then I'll have lunch at Luigi's. Then I'll take an Uber to Golden West Casino, blow 2 bills there. Then come back home, take a nap, and go to KC's for dinner. That was going to be my day. And then at the 11th minute, I looked down at my rundown. I was like, take your lazy ass to work. What's the matter with you? But for 10 minutes, you were going to run a best of. I was going to just do something incredibly stupid. But here's what happened. And again, I don't mind talking about it. Because I talked to the Chase people today, and they said this is not common, but it's happened. And I was surprised I got my money back. I woke up last Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday, and I got a text message with the Chase logo. This is what got me, the Chase logo. And I'm not trying to say I deserve to get duped, is what I'm saying. But this is how they got me. They had the Chase logo. It was a text message that said, do you recognize these 3 transactions on your account? And it said, ignore this if you do, but write in all caps no if you don't. And I wrote no. And then what also got me, 10 minutes later, they called me. Now, I'm telling you this because that's the tell. That's where they screwed up, or they should have, but they had a mark. They had an idiot. They had a 63-year-old man who's a moron, because the bank never calls you. That's the first thing Chase told me when I finally contacted them after this nightmare. We would never call you. So the guy calls me, and this is the other thing that got me, because I've always wondered how they get these people when they call them and they say, if you don't give us all your money, if you don't give us $1,500, you don't give us $2,000, the police are going to be at your door. And I always wonder, how do these people surrender this money? Because once they get you to believe that they're authentic, or at least this was the case in my situation, I was willing to do anything to try to recoup this money. And so they called me, and the guy said, we understand your problem, Mr. Bailey. He identified the 3 transactions that were texted to me. He had the amount, he had the name that was on the account. And he said, all right, Mr. Bailey, don't worry, we'll take care of this. We're going to transfer you to our fraudulent department. And they transferred me, and that's where they got me. And then, to make a long story short, because again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, the guy basically walked me through how to send me everything but $12 in my banking account. Literally. It took me an hour. I called Chris. I said it was like because I was on the phone with him for about an hour and a half, which was another tell. That should have tipped me off right there. It took us an hour and a half to supposedly clean up the 3 transactions when in fact I was sending them my money. And I called Chris. I said, man, I may not be able to come into work. In fact, they had to come get me to go to work, because at the end of the transactions, after I thought I had recouped my money and actually sent them my money, I had $12 in my account. And they had to cancel my account, so I couldn't even call an Uber. And somebody had to come literally get me to go to work that day. But they said that they could recoup it. And the thing that I'm going to call them about tomorrow, because they're open on Saturday, is, and what do you think about this, Chris? Do you think they stopped the guys from getting the money?
That's always my question.
Or am I just insured and they just gave me more
I
money?
would assume because it's an electronic transaction, they do stop them from getting the money because you would cancel the transaction altogether.
And I was lucky. I canceled it immediately,
Right.
because as soon as I finished the transaction and thought I had recouped my money with these guys, I went to my email, and my email, Chase sends an email if your account is under $50.
Right.
And I saw that and I was like, what? And I went to my account and it was $12.
Right.
And so I immediately called Chase and they immediately got on it. So I think
It
they
might
might have stopped them from at least getting
But
the
I've
money.
also been told that they can't actually do anything about these types of things until after it's gone through your account and actually like processed,
Yeah.
which would mean that the money gets to wherever it was going. So I really don't know what the answer is here for that one.
Yeah, because I'm sure as soon as it's wired to them, they somehow turned it into cash.
Right.
They're not leaving it in an account.
Or they move it from one account to another.
Yeah.
Or I have no
Yeah.
idea how that works, though, unfortunately.
But you have no idea how happy I have been all day long and how relieved I am. I just felt like the biggest idiot in the freaking world, and just I didn't think, because I gave it to him, I didn't think Chase was going to give it back to me. I really didn't. And it was supposed to be 3 to 5 days, which would have been Wednesday. And then I called yesterday and they said, well, it's going to be longer because there were 3 different transactions. There's only one pending, however, so it's on the way. And that kind of calmed me down. And then I woke up this morning and I am walking on air. In the meantime, we got a good show for you. As I mentioned, Mr. Bentley will join us in just a minute. It is day 6 of Epic Fury, and the Israelis are picking up attacks on Tehran while the gas prices are beginning to soar. And I think that is one of the issues that's about to mount, and that is the rapidly growing gas prices. There's not much they can do. Operation Epic Fury is going extremely well. We apparently control their airspace. We've devastated their Navy, and the operation itself is going well. The ramifications, that could be debated, because already gas prices have jumped. Oil is up to $90 a barrel. There's some speculation that it could get up to $150 a barrel. That could mean possibly $6 to $7 a gallon out here in California. That is going to be a gargantuan issue. And now the president has upped the stakes and has calling for an unconditional surrender by the Iranians. Now, I don't know about y'all, and I don't want to get into military tactics, but I don't know what that looks like in any form. Who are the IRGC going to turn their weapons over to? And then the president said that he is going to be involved in selecting the next leader of Iran. Here is Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary, on what the president had to say.
What President Trump means when he says unconditional surrender is when he, as commander-in-chief of the United States military and the leader of the free world, determines that Iran can no longer pose a threat to the United States of America and to our troops and our personnel in the Middle East. That is, again, the ultimate goal of Operation Epic Fury, to annihilate their Navy, to take out their ballistic missile threat, which we have largely done in the course of just 6 days. And then, of course, to ensure they can never obtain a nuclear weapon, to significantly weaken their proxies in the region that have killed and maimed hundreds of Americans throughout the years. We've seen the Houthis and Hezbollah have hardly put up a fight over the past 6 days. So we're already well on our way to achieving the objectives of Operation Epic Fury. And when the president determines that Iran no longer poses that threat, that's when that unconditional surrender will take place.
Okay. So I see what they're going to, you see what they're going to do? They're going to redefine what an unconditional surrender is. And this could be successful. Now, the Democrats are going to deem it a failure. They're going to call it an illegal war all the way up until the midterm elections. But this, I think, is for the first time in my viewpoint, and that doesn't mean a damn thing because I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about on the topic, but this could lead to a possible success. Because as I will chronicle after the break, these people have been terrorizing us and the world and Israel since I was in high school. And it is about time because every single president since the Shah left Tehran, since over 400 hostages were taken in 1979, they had one of them on Fox today who talked about their experience being beaten by hoses, having your teeth knocked out, being starved for 3, 4, 5 days at a time. Some people returned, but they didn't return whole. They didn't return as they left. And so it is about time that somebody did something about this group of terrorists. Here's more from Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, on the president's thoughts.
As for the next leader of Iran, the president has said, of course, it's in the best interest of the United States to have a leader that is no longer chanting death to America, that is no longer conspiring behind our backs and lying to the American people and to our government about proliferating a nuclear weapon, which Iran has been doing for decades. It's unacceptable to the president. That's why he decided to launch this operation, and that's his goal, and it will continue to be moving forward.
All we can do is cross our fingers and hope for the best. We are involved in this thing. I think as Americans, we should all be involved in it in some way. We should all be supportive of it. I was critical of the way they rolled it out. I still think the president should go before the nation and make a Howard Marcus-like cogent explanation. As I talked about all week, the best explanation I've heard about Operation Epic Fury has come from Howard Marcus, our former federal agent, on Wednesday, who explained his thoughts on why he thought we were doing this and what the exit strategy would be and how we're going to maneuver this thing. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, there's all kind of things going on within the Republican Party. We have a really packed show. Tony Gonzalez has stepped down. No, not that Tony Gonzalez, the congressman from Uvalde, the man who had an affair with a staffer. Well, he admitted it finally, and in doing so, he stepped out what was going to be a very costly primary down in Texas. And now Brandon Herrera will be the representative coming out of that district, the 23rd down in Texas way. They had a vote today to affirm a very simple question. Is Iran the leading exporter of terrorists? And do you know that 53 Democrats voted no? There are two Americas. There is a Democratic America and there is a Republican America. And there are 53 representatives of Congress who told the world that Iran is not. It is, you got to explain that to me. You really do. Quick time out. We're just getting started on a glorious Friday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, latest updates from our aerial campaign against the mullahs in Iran. What is the Trump administration doing to gather some resistance from inside Iran? We'll discuss that, plus the jobs numbers, the economy, all of it pointing toward the midterms. We'll discuss how the political landscape's looking on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Networks. Business owners, how many times have you called your IT company and felt like just another ticket number? Well, at Adaptive Networks, exceptional customer service isn't just the promise, it's how they do business every single day. And nobody knows that better than the folks here at American General Media, because they are a client of ours and we are a client of theirs. IT is incredibly important for a radio station. We can't depend on somebody saying, well, we'll be out there tomorrow, because all you hear is nothing. So it's do or die for us. That's why we depend on Adaptive Networks. And when you call, you'll actually talk to a real person who knows your name, understands your business, and genuinely cares about solving your problems. No phone trees, no runaround, no attitude. That's what Adaptive Networks are all about. Call today at 661-241-0638. That's 241-0638. Join the IT network that American General Media uses every day.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-505-7915. 800-505-7915. 800-505-7915.
I'm Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Yesterday we identified, or I think it was Wednesday, we identified 4 of 6 soldiers that have been killed thus far in Operation Epic Fury. Now, a California resident is one of the 6. The Pentagon released the fact that a Sacramento man is believed to have been among the 6 Army Reserve soldiers killed Sunday in a drone strike in Kuwait amid the United States escalating conflict. I'm reading from the New York Times. Chief Warrant Officer Robert M. Marzin, 54, is believed to have died at the scene of the Port Chiaba attack, according to the Pentagon. He was assigned to the 103rd Sustainment Command in Des Moines and deployed to Kuwait to support the U.S. war effort dubbed Operation Epic Fury. The Pentagon announced earlier Wednesday that Army Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien, 45, of Indianola, Iowa, was confirmed to be among those killed in the strike. The other 4 Kuwait casualties who died in the Iran war remembered for their service. Identified Tuesday as Captain Cody Cork, 35, of Winter Haven, Florida. I told you that my freshman roommate, George Gethers' father, was the mayor of Winter Haven, Florida, back in the 80s. Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, 42, of Bellevue, Nebraska. Sergeant First Class Nicole Amor, 39. I tried to read that the other day and I couldn't read my own writing. It was Sergeant First Class Nicole Amor, A-M-O-R, 39, of White Bear Lake, Minnesota. And Sergeant DeClane J. Cody of West Des Moines, Iowa. The young man was 20 years old. It's just, I don't know, 20 years old. I just can't even imagine the parents of this child. But there is some good news. The UK now has kind of reversed itself and is somewhat getting involved. They've sent aircraft to the area. This, as we learn, that the Russians apparently are getting intelligence to the locations of our U.S. are to the Iranians in counter to us providing the Ukraine on the Russians. So we're dealing with that. And as I mentioned at the top, the Israelis have picked up their attacks on Tehran. They are said to have been some 15 waves of strikes that have hit the country. As I mentioned, we do control the airspace, and the Navy is all but devastated. And like I said, I think there is an opportunity for this to be a success. And it appears that the Ayatollah's son, I got to tell you a Jimmy Kimmel joke I heard that actually made me laugh. Because Jimmy Kimmel does not make me laugh. I saw it on Reels. I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel, but he was talking about the situation. And he said, I hate to do this, but Ayatollah so. I didn't even say it right. Ayatollah.
Dad joke.
Ayatollah so. I didn't deliver it right.
Mr. Bentley says that's a Kernack joke.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Did I blow one of his bits already?
No. Like he's just saying that was a joke.
That's kind of in that genre. Yeah. I thought it was funny. But the president, meantime, is doing something that Joe Biden couldn't do. By the way, at Jesse Jackson's funeral today, we are so fortunate. We are in debt to the Democratic Party. We really are. Because if they had let him somehow, I don't see how, but if he had somehow won the sitting president right now, I don't know if any of you watched it, because unfortunately, again, this is more proof to one of my new thesis about this broadcast, that there are two Americas. Fox ran none of the Jackson funeral. Absolutely none of it. Not one of it. Barack Obama spoke, Kamala Harris spoke, Bill Clinton spoke, Joe Biden spoke. I would have thought they would have aired Biden just for laughs and giggles, because Jill is doing him a disservice. That whole family is doing him an entire disservice. If I were Hunter, God forbid, but if I were Hunter, I'd be like, no, Pop, you're not speaking. You can go and shake hands with Barack and say hello to everybody that's there. And you know another thing I noticed? It's just bizarre. Just a total FU to Jesse and his family and to our country. Guess who wasn't there? Chris Burdick.
That's a good question.
Michelle Obama.
Really?
And this is the second funeral that she's missed, that Barack's had to go stag. I forget what bigwig recently passed away. I don't want to even think about it because I'm running late. But she's from Chicago. I mean, Jesse Jackson is a legend in Chicago. It's where he started Push. It's where he started the Rainbow Coalition. It's where he lived for the majority of his life. And for her not to go is like an FU to the Jackson family, an FU to her husband. Jill was there, Hillary was there, and it's an FU to the country. Look, lady, if you didn't like being first lady, that's tough. You signed up for it. But what you've got to do, like the vice president of the United States, is show up at funerals. It's just unbelievable. We pivot to entertainment. Rick Bentley and Kernack join us next.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Oh, sir.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Iran's retaliatory attacks in the Middle East over strikes from Israel and the have left some of America's partners in the Gulf frustrated over a lack of defense. The mostly private frustration comes as Pentagon officials conceded this week they're struggling to stop waves of drones launched by leaving some U.S. targets in the Gulf region vulnerable. American employers unexpectedly cut 92,000 jobs last month, a sign that the labor market remains under strain. The unemployment rate blipped up to 4.4%. The Labor Department reported Friday that hiring deteriorated from January. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 453 points. The Nasdaq dropped 361. The S&P lower by 90. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. He's a man of much experience. Bakersfield's new police chief is Stratton. That announcement was made today by the department, and he replaces retiring Chief Greg Terry May 1st. 22 years with Bakersfield PD. Stratton says that's been his dream job. He's been in many of the departments and units, including patrol, SWAT, the gang unit, investigations, and internal affairs. A man died in a wreck just before 5 this morning on Highway 43 near Orange Street, south of Shafter, when the Toyota Corolla that he was driving hit the back of a semi-truck and immediately caught fire. The man was pinned inside. Patrol says they don't know yet if drugs or alcohol were factors in that wreck. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
I have quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
On the Monday Armstrong and Getty shows, events continue to unfold in the Middle East. We all are wondering what's next for Iran. How long will the war last? Stay with us. We'll bring you up to date.
Yeah, now that Trump has declared unconditional surrender is the only option. Where does this go? And then all the other news of the day that happens over the weekend, we'll have it for you on Monday with the Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and KERN, the Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa.
And don't it feel good? It does feel great. Gorgeous Friday afternoon. There's not a cloud in the sky. As Mr. Crosby used to sing, blue skies. And it's a Friday. And of course, that means KGT entertainment reporter Rick Bentley is live in studio with us. How are you, sir?
I don't know how live I am, but I'm here.
You're above ground, and that's always a
that's
good day.
right. You know, I noticed I was putting one foot in front of the other, so I guess that's working.
That's a good day.
Either that, or it's like those, when you cut the head off a chicken, they just keep running for maybe 3 years, and I'll just lay down and go, well, he was dead 3 years ago, but he wouldn't give it up.
I have actually seen that. I was 8 years old, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I actually saw my grandfather chop the head off of a chicken, and the chicken kept running right into the bamboo. My grandparents had this bamboo in the backyard, and he ran around in the bamboo and finally collapsed. And I was just like,
you know what? I
couldn't go in the backyard.
That
for
says
like
a lot
days.
about you. I now understand you even
Oh
better.
yeah. I'm a very strange man.
Yeah,
and there's reasons. There are different.
Well,
chapters in my life.
There's a long litany.
Oh yes,
but,
it's a long list.
Yeah,
it's a long list.
So you want to get started with the fun stuff, or just get to the boring stuff?
Well, I really wanted to interview you about a couple of things. Actually, before I don't know. You tell me. It's your segment.
No, it's your.
No,
it's your show.
No, it's your segment.
Look, because it's your show, I could just sit here in silence for 30 minutes, and they're not going to do anything to me. So whatever you want to do, let's do.
Well, I wanted to ask you: have you been watching the FX series on John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. and his wife, or is she a widow if they die together? I guess not.
But
his wife, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. Have you been watching this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. She'll be his wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched several episodes. In fact, I did an interview with Constance Zimmer, who is going to be on the new episode this weekend, playing Carolyn's mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if you the stories, I watched the episode. It's so intriguing because she has the night before the wedding. It's the rehearsal.
I saw it last night.
Oh, okay. It
I
was
saw
last
the
night.
episode.
I saw it a week ago, so I never know when anything's on anymore.
What did she say about it? Did she say it was accurate? Because it's a stunning scene.
She said it has all the basic elements. It was refined. It wasn't word for word.
Well, of course not.
But she talked about how it just incredible, that speech. And I told her, I said, it's one of those speeches that's going to be studied, because here's a mother who is wanting her daughter to be happy, but also realizing the reality of what she was getting into.
Yeah.
And so how do you let your baby go and everything?
Yeah.
And also,
that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I didn't like the series until last night.
Yeah, last night was,
that scene is so dynamic. It really, really is. Now, I don't know how accurate it is, and that's why I hate these docudramas.
Right.
Because you're essentially inventing conversations.
Right.
But the talk she has with John Kennedy, where she basically says, and I'm not ruining for you, I'm really not, but she basically says, because I didn't know this, Kennedy told her while he was courting her, I have no interest in being president.
Right.
And she bought that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd.
Yeah, that is
incredible. And I'll just sum up the scene where she basically he says that to her. I'm not going to gobble her up. I'm not going to be president. She's not going to be the first lady. He says in so many words. And she goes, I know you believe that. And that's a classic
Isn't
line.
that incredible?
Yeah, that is a really good line.
I also asked Constance about doing scenes with him. After playing John Kennedy, looks.
He really does. And off screen, as the normal actor, he really doesn't look like that much. But with makeup and the way they do his hair, he startlingly looks like Kennedy.
She told him, said, you look so much like him. And she goes, it's the hair.
It is.
It's the hair.
It is. It totally
really
is. The haircut.
And you're right. This series so far, the whole thing of them falling in love and getting together, and two people I really didn't care that I didn't like that much.
Me too.
But when we get into this sort of near the end of the series, and all of it's up, you can see it. And incidentally, I will have an online story on KGD.com with Constance on Monday.
I'm gonna go check it out.
And then at KGD Plus, the televised version, the video version of my interview with her will be there. So you'll get to get to, and I wanted to talk to her because she's done so many things in her career, and she's one of those actresses you go, I know I've seen you in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this stuff. And so, but yeah, I thought I sort of plowed through the first two or three, feeling like, oh, I need to watch, and then when they sent me they gave me a list of people I could interview, and she was one I went, oh, no question, I'm going to talk to her. And because I thought that was a pivotal character that probably other journalists wouldn't be that, they would want to talk to, I'm sorry, Meryl Streep's daughter, who plays, she plays Carolyn Kennedy.
Oh, she does it well.
Yeah. But I mean,
but see, that's why I don't like these things, because they kind of portray her as kind of the evil sister.
Yeah. And I never got that feeling. And I've lived through all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I thought this episode would probably be a big, and it really does feel like, okay, if you started like one episode before this, I think it would have been much better.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to drag things out for eight episodes, and
is it eight?
Yeah.
Because what was last night? Fifth or sixth?
Six.
Okay, so there's two more.
Two more. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Good
watch
math.
this weekend.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You didn't even have to.
Well, no, I did actually use my finger.
If there'd been 12 episodes, you'd have taken a shoe off.
Yeah, I've been screwed. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan, but that scene, and I knew a lot about their wedding. In fact, I just saw a documentary on how they went to this island and everybody was upset about it because it was dirt roads and no limos but it was private.
But from the series, that's why they picked that.
Right.
They didn't want the massive paparazzi
yeah.
and all the people showing up and everything.
I don't know how they did it. I really don't.
No, I don't.
That life, having photographers standing outside your apartment every day.
Yeah.
As he went to work,
and not just for a big event.
Just every day.
Your uncle's running for this or what. No, you're going to work.
Yeah.
And there's this one of the scenes where they're living together, and he says, let's walk out together, and she goes, no, we can't. You have to go out first, and then And then after the paparazzi follows him, then she can go the other way.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did.
You know, but again, as much as we want to, whether you like this or not, the Kennedys were sort of our version of royalty.
Absolutely.
And so because that's why in anything the royal family does is there's, camera people and everything.
Yeah.
And so that's why the Kennedys were followed everywhere.
You can ask my mother. We could call her right now. When I was 12 years old, I said I was going to be John Jr.'s press secretary.
Oh, that
When I
would
was
have,
12 years old, I said that.
but that would have meant he'd have become president.
Oh, there was no question had he lived, he'd be president.
Yeah, he would.
No, I don't think there's any question.
I don't
about that.
either.
America was yearning for him to run for president.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what year it would have been he would have run.
He probably would have run
2000?
in 2004. No, 2008.
2008.
It would have been him instead of Obama.
Okay.
It would have been him instead of Obama. He would have run after George Bush.
Yeah, and
Yep.
there would have been no Republican.
Because he's I think he's 2-3 years older than I am.
Okay.
So in 2008, I was 36. He would have been 40. Yeah, he would have run in. He'd have been one of the youngest presidents then. You've been younger than his dad.
Yeah.
His dad was 43.
Yeah, but I can't think of a Republican that could have gone against him that would have given the Republican
No.
Party a chance.
No,
I mean,
he
it's
was
just-
definitely. That's why I can't believe if the depiction is accurate.
Yeah.
That he lied to her and said, "I have no interest in going to be president."
And
Please.
I do think her response of, yeah, you believe that.
Yeah, the mothers.
Yeah,
that's the best line in the whole.
Yeah.
I know you believe.
I know you
that.
believe that.
But
yeah.
the party would have asked him. They would have begged him.
Oh, they'd have done anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been slam dunk. All right, it's your show now.
You don't have anything else you want to interview me about?
I did, but we can do this. I did kind of want to talk about Catherine. I don't know her.
O'Hara?
No, Catherine
Zeta-Jones?
Short. And
Martin Short's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about that. I just know what I read in the media about that.
Well, it doesn't make sense. She was involved in psychiatric work.
Yeah.
She had a BA from NYU. She had a master's degree from SC. And her job was, she was basically a shrink. She was doing part-time work dealing with mental health.
Yeah,
and she ended up eating a gun.
How many bartenders you know that are alcoholics?
Yeah, true. It's just
I mean, the
amazing.
people we think should know better.
Right.
If you live in that, as a bartender, they see the worst of humanity's worst.
You would think if anybody would know how to reach out for help, it would be somebody who tells people to reach out for help.
Yeah, but that's one of the things about human nature. I think it's harder for us to admit we have a problem than to look at other people's problems and try to help them.
Yeah, you agree.
And I think that's what caught her, and it's horrifying.
And I think she was mixed up because I was reading the article today. She changed her name because of her father's last name. If she walked in here and introduced herself as Kathleen Short, I wouldn't think.
Are you Martin? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think. It's not like the name like Brando or Pacino.
I walked in here and you never said, "Are you kin to Lord Bentley?"
Exactly. I think she was. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, but it's just.
Well, no,
we have to admit we have a pandemic, and it is mental health.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we wanted to sort of figure out where do we, because some problems are so huge, you have to start chipping at it at something.
Yeah.
You need that one point. Mental health, we got to get that under control.
We really do.
And that just ripples down through so much.
Yeah.
But
we're losing generations of young men in particular.
It's one of those things because you don't sometimes recognize it till it's too late.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to say, oh, somebody should have stepped in and told her, you need your help. You stopped helping others. But
anyway. Yeah, very sad.
On a lighter note, I have in my hands a series of envelopes that had been sitting in a mason jar on the porch of Funkin' Wagnall for over 365 days.
Yes!
And now, Greg Kernak, you are going to ascertain what is inside each of these envelopes before you even open them up.
That is correct. With my sometimes amazing wisdom.
Wow. That intro took longer than the bit.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Get along with this.
Yeah, all right. The amazing Kernak, here is the first envelope.
Thank you, sir. Lemonade.
Lemonade.
That's what I said. Lemonade. What do you give a sick lemon?
Lemonade.
You give him lemonade.
That's all right. That's good.
Okay, we're off to
a fast start.
Okay,
Yes.
start. Yeah.
That's a base hit.
Sometimes we start off at the bottom of the hill and never get up.
That was a clean base hit up the middle.
Here is envelope number 2.
Strangle it.
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 Taking you forever to open the envelope.
I know. I'm nervous for record. How do you make an artichoke?
You strangle it. You've
Not bad. Not bad.
You've left it 2.
That's you're 2 for 2 today.
I think we should stop. Here is envelope number 3.
Trump's favorite Beach Boy tune.
Trump's favorite Beach Boy tune?
Beach Boys.
Beach Boys.
The group, yes.
Oh.
Trump's favorite Beach Boys tune. What is Ba 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 Moran? Oh, you should tell me that in advance. I would have sang it. Ba 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 Moran. Ba 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 Moran. That was pretty good.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Thank
Come
you.
on. Give him a nice
I
applause for that.
know we
That was
have to
pretty
quit
good.
now.
We should.
We got to,
We should just stop. But
Thank
we
you,
still-
folks. It's tip your waitress.
Unfortunately, we still have 10 minutes.
Well, great.
Yeah.
All right, here's envelope number 4.
Mickey Mantle.
You don't know how matter good this is. Mickey Mantle is not going to be as good as these
No,
first.
that we hit the apex
Yeah.
right there. Where's the best place to display your Mickey?
On the Mickey Mantle.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like having dessert first, and then,
Right.
no matter what they bring to
And
you.
then you have a
the rest of
salad.
it,
Just
Yeah,
doesn't-
exactly. Oh
doesn't
boy,
add up.
Thousand Island dressing. I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's envelope number 5, I think.
Hailing taxis.
Hailing taxis.
Not sure you spelled taxis correctly, but that's beside the point. Hailing taxis.
I didn't write these. These were in a mason
That's
jar. I
right.
told you.
What is worse than raining cats and dogs?
Hailing taxis. Here's envelope to the last.
The penultimate
The
letter.
penultimate letter.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
The great Tiger Woods. What is a good place to avoid India at night?
The Tiger Woods.
That's right.
There we go. And now we have the very last envelope. It's worth everything we paid for it.
May an elephant with gas get into your sauna. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to read the
Yeah,
line. Wackadoo.
Wackadoo.
One of my favorite phrases. Wackadoo. What do you look for when tracking a wacka?
You look for
Wackadoo. That's
All right.
right. Rick
Now,
Bentley,
once again,
everybody, and the
great
great
job.
Karnak. The magnificent. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
The Bob Moran was classic.
Thank you.
That is an all-time classic. That's almost as good as Sis Boom Ba.
When I'm putting these things together, I write one, and it's always this. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And then I have to have 4 or 5. And so I did the Trump one first, and it's like, oh, now I have to add more to this.
That was pretty fun.
Where'd I go from that? So
I am loving this time of year because it's the Academy Awards, and not that I give a doggone about the Academy Awards anymore, although I used to be a freak about it, Rick. Back in the day, it was an event, man.
Sure.
It was an event. You got your food and your popcorn and your
Right.
stuff, and you knew every movie. You knew every actor.
Well, you had a chance to see them.
Exactly.
Right.
But the only reason I like them now is because one of my favorite channels on television, Turner Classic Movies, does a whole month of Academy Award either winning or even just nominated pictures. And it's just, it's my wheelhouse. I mean, I saw this week The Best Years of Our Lives, which is just in so many different ways, a classic motion picture.
Right.
And the story of the film and how it was put together and how the director, William Wyler, because it was shot in 1946,
Right.
which is just a year after the ending of World War II.
Right.
And it's totally based on William Wyler's life.
Right.
His life is based on the Frederick March character, the guy who was fairly affluent,
but isn't an officer. He's a buck sergeant, and he comes back and he has to acclimate. And there's another story of a flyer who's played by, oh, I'm blacking out. His brother is
Is Mickey Rooney in it?
no, not
No.
Mickey Rooney. Anyway, there's another character who was a fly guy, and now he has to come back and deal with that. And then there's the Harold Russell character. And this is a fascinating story where William Wyler wanted to show someone who was maimed
Right.
in the service. And he saw a Army training film of a gentleman who had his hands burned on a naval ship. And he had hooks, and it was Harold Russell. And he took a flyer and said, I'm going to have him play, even though he'd never been in a motion picture, I'm going to have him play the third character.
Wow.
The boy who was coming home to it. He's the quarterback of his high school football team. He's the high school star. He's got the homecoming queen waiting for him, but he's got to come home with no hands.
Yeah.
And he has to deal with her. Does she still love me? Am I still going to get married? How are my parents going to react? And Harold Russell is the only actor in the history of motion pictures to win 2 Academy Awards for the same role, because the Academy didn't think he was going to win because
Right.
he'd never acted before.
Right.
How in the world could he win Best Supporting Actor?
Right.
So they gave him an honorary Academy when the whole thing started.
Oh.
And then a half an hour into the awards, he wins. So to this day, he's the only actor that won 2 awards. And his performance, Hoagie Carmichael's in the film. It's just a great picture.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And I've seen that in a bunch of other films all this week.
I almost hesitate looking at older Academy Award nominees,
Yeah.
because then I start thinking, wow, compared to what we're seeing now, that was a golden era.
It really was.
And I know we're old and people go, oh yeah, old crotchety people.
Yeah.
No, go back and look at these films. They are just, the story is so good.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and to compare it to something like I had to see The Bride to review. It's the new film from Maggie Gyllenhaal about the Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think it's horrible.
Oh,
I think, although I thought the original 1935 with Elsa Lanchester
was classic.
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 But, that triggered Maggie Gyllenhaal, because if you remember, in the original Bride of Frankenstein, she's not in it until the last 2 minutes and has no lines.
Yeah.
And so Maggie Gyllenhaal was saying, well, I wondered what was going through her brain.
Yeah.
And so that's what The Bride is about. And it stars Jessie Buckley, who is up for an Oscar for Hamnet. So it's got a great actress in it. And Christian Bale plays Frankenstein in it. But Gyllenhaal just, talking about not knowing how to write something.
Yeah.
She had 15 ideas for a story, and so she just put them all in there. And so it's sort of like, you're opening a drawer and there's something, this one's got a spoon in it, you open this drawer and there's a mouse in it, and none of it goes together. And so it's just this sort of non-fluidic, it starts with the main character that becomes the bride, either having sort of a mental breakdown or a fevered dream, or of talking to Mary Shelley, who wrote the original Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So again, this is where, when people talk to me about judging movies, it always starts with the writing.
Yeah.
If the writing isn't good, as it was many years ago, because they cared about words, they cared about what people had to say rather than just big action and that sort of thing.
The classic Bride of Frankenstein, of course, is Madeline Kahn in Young Frankenstein.
And
where her hair turns white like the other Frankenstein.
Sweet mystery of life.
Oh, sweet mystery of love and life, I found you.
And to show you how bad that,
oh, you brute, 7 little quickies and you just leave a woman. And she was like playing the kind of whorish character.
To
in those
show you
days.
how bad Maggie Gyllenhaal's version with The Bride is.
Yeah.
She has Frankenstein in it. There's a dream sequence where Frankenstein has this passion for going to the movies to seeing song and dance movies. So he envisions himself in a song and dance situation. He's wearing a tuxedo. He's singing and dancing to Putting on the Ritz.
No.
Yes.
They stole that from Mel Brooks?
So you have this incredibly
Oh, that
dark,
is ridiculous.
dark drama. I mean, just bitterly dark. And then suddenly there's a dream. And again, maybe having him have this sequence where he believes it's a song dance movie, but the dude putting on the Ritz. I mean, it's just
That's
it's
crazy.
the movie stopped for me and said,
Yeah.
look, we're not taking it seriously. Why should you?
And we ran out of ideas, so he's
Yeah,
going to
well,
steal
we
from Mel
had a
Brooks.
lot of ideas. This was just one of the dumb ones we kept in there.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like
crazy.
we get to the very end of the movie, and this film has been about murder and killing and maiming people and everything. And what do we play with the closing credits? What song?
Putting on the Ritz?
No.
What?
Worst. Monster Mash.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious. Why would I lie to you?
From a cartoon.
From a a cartoon,
Or whatever you want to call it.
You know, it's a Halloween favorite because
it's a great song.
It's so silly.
Yeah.
But in that kind of movie,
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
that's
yeah.
nuts.
And so it literally was. I was sitting there thinking, please, this has got to be over. I just can't sit here another
that's too
minute.
bad.
But I've always said I will stay to the bitter end.
Yeah.
I just have to feel like I owe it to the reader, the viewer, whatever.
And for the young generation, or for the old folks who don't remember, Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein was Ray Romano's dad in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle, who was in another great picture that I got to see this week because of the Academy Awards on Turner Classic Movie, The Candidate. A great picture with Robert Redford.
Oh,
and
that
Peter
is
Boyle
so
plays.
good.
Peter Boyle plays the campaign manager who initially tells him, "What do you got to lose? You can't win."
Yeah.
And so you can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And then he starts to gain momentum and boop. That's, the crux of the film. But I love this time of year just for that I get to see some of the classic
And
films.
sometimes it hurts my heart when we think of who the generation will go, Peter Boyle. Oh, he's Ray Romano's, dad.
Yeah. And you forget. He was
Come on,
great,
he had a great career before, that's like Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
He'll always remember for being the Naked Gun, Goofy, and those were great.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to say anything bad about Naked Gun, but he had a very
He was a serious actor. Yeah.
serious actor.
And it was great on television. He would be on Columbo all the time.
Yeah.
He was on.
But you know what? I cannot now go back and watch reruns of a Columbo without if he's in it, it's thinking, is this a parody?
Yeah.
His whole persona has been changed to me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, they had that on a police station or police squad. Police squad.
Yeah.
They had that on Turner Classic Movies this week.
Yeah, that again, Airplane, Police Squad, all that stuff are great to watch.
When are the Oscars?
A week from Sunday.
A week from Sunday?
Yep.
Very good. Very good.
On ABC, Conan O'Brien.
All right. Nicely done, sir, with Kernak once again.
I feel like I redeemed myself from some of the bad ones.
Hey, you hit a home run today, boy.
Okay.
That was great. That was very, very good. Everybody, Rick Bentley. Quick timeout. We head into the 4. We'll get into the vote that was taken in the House. A simple vote, just asking, is Iran the greatest exporter of terrorism? And 53 Democrats said no. We'll get into that. Then at the bottom of the hour, Tony Gonzalez has stepped aside down in Texas. No, not that Tony Gonzalez. I'll explain. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Thank you, sir. That was great. That really was good. That really was good. I wish I had
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
Yeah.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt recaps some progress in the war against Iran, saying the U.S. expects to meet its objectives within weeks.
The achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks,
right?
and we are well on our way to achieving those objectives. Annihilating Iran's navy, we know that we sunk more than 30 Iranian vessels and ships. Their navy has now been deemed combat ineffective. Taking out the ballistic missile threat that Iran posed to the United States and our troops and bases in the region, we have done a tremendous job.
The U.S. and Israel have battered Iran with strikes targeting their military capabilities, leadership, and nuclear brands. Epstein files are being released.
The Justice Department has published more missing Epstein files involving an uncorroborated claim about President Trump. The department said last week that it was reviewing to determine if any records were improperly withheld after several news organizations reported the massive tranche of records that have been made public didn't include documenting a series of interviews conducted in 2019 with a woman who made an allegation against Trump. The department said those files had been incorrectly coded as duplicates and were therefore inadvertently not published along with the millions of other Epstein files. High Washington.
Oil shot to its highest price since 20, surging again because of the Iran war. And a week update on the U.S. job market knocked stocks lower to cap Wall Street's worst week since October. The Dow was down by 453, Nasdaq plunged 361, the S&P 500 90, and oil was up over $90 a barrel. More at Town Hall.
Whether it's because of discomfort, lack of mobility, lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively for way too many hours a day. It's terrible for your health. It's time to add some extra steps to your day. Introducing Ellipse One, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases your mobility, and boosts circulation without physical impact. It's the easiest exercise you will ever do. Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work. Just plug it in, place your feet, select your speed, and relax. Ellipse does all the work for you. Call now and order Ellipse One, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call 1-800-754-4130. That's 1-800-754-4130. Or visit us at ellipse-one.com. Now eligible for FSA HSA. Order today. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A new for Bakersfield. I'm Chris Davis. His name is Brett Stratton, and he's been with the department for more than 20 years. The new appointment takes effect May 1st. Stratton is filling the position after the retirement of Chief Greg Terry. Right now, Stratton oversees field services and special operations. The department, though, says he has experience with the SWAT team, internal affairs, patrol, and even the gang unit. A car hit the back of a semi-truck and burst into flames just before 5 this morning south of Shafter on Highway 43 near Orange Street. That Toyota Corolla, says the Highway Patrol. It is not clear yet how fast the Corolla was going. The driver was pinned inside there and couldn't get out. It is unknown right now if drugs or alcohol were a factor in that wreck. No name has been released. A new scam, and this time it's directed at customers of Southern California Edison Electric, which does serve people here in Central California. The company has a recording of one of the calls where the scammer says the person is late paying their bill and has to come up with $300 in 30 minutes or they get cut off. Southern California Electric says you can feel free to contact if you get one of those calls. If you graduated Bakersfield College in 2025, you may have a typo on your diploma. If so, the college says they are automatically sending out new diplomas to those grads. If you graduated in 2024, you can fill out a form to send in and get a new diploma if there is a mistake. The president of the college says you should be able to be proud to display that hard-earned document. California gas has gone up again. Gas Buddy reports the average price in the state today is $4.83. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get a post like this.
The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. The host you've been waiting all day for. Live in studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast. Friday, 6th March. Just a couple of weeks left now. Please stand by. Why am I getting all these government stuff? Are you guys getting government text messages?
Don't touch it. Don't.
I just hit delete and report.
Delete them.
Huh?
They're gonna get, since you fell for one link, there's gonna be a ton that flow into you now.
Even if you delete and report it as spam?
They're from the state. They're from Sacramento about some voting thing. I didn't even read it. I just
Read it real quick.
I deleted it.
Let's see if
I
it's
deleted it. I deleted it.
Are you deleted it already?
Going to
Okay,
my trash? Can I go into my trash?
I'm not sure. Might be able to.
Let's see. I should have read it. Recently deleted. Okay, here we go. But it can't. How do you open it? Okay, I'm too recently deleted, but I don't know how to open it. Oh, recover. Recover 3 messages. Okay. Now does that go? Now do I go back to my old deal?
Yeah, just go back to your messages and they should be there now. Just don't touch any links or
Okay.
anything like that.
Attention, California voters. An official voter petition for a ballot initiative to stop wasteful spending on failed programs is about to arrive in your mailbox. As soon as it arrives, it is important you open it, sign it, and return it as soon as you can. Californians pay some of the highest taxes in the country, but too often it's wasted on programs that fail to deliver real results. The Transparency Act initiative requires public financial and performance audits of new taxes so we get the transparency, accountability, and oversight we deserve. We need voters like you to help get the Transparency Act on the ballot. Every signed and returned petition will bring the effort closer to the November 2026 ballot. Keep an eye on your mailbox and please sign or return the petition promptly. Postage is already paid, so it won't cost you at all. Together, we can help stop the wasteful spending on failed programs and bring greater accountability to state government. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, that's legit. That's
That's
an
legit.
actual text message. Yeah.
And I probably should sign it.
Yeah.
Politicians keep spending billions on failed programs.
And honestly, that is smart for them to reach out to people via text to tell them, hey, something's coming for you to sign in your mail, so you don't think this is a scam or something that you can just throw away, because most people do, obviously.
Like I just did. Yeah. We should do that about the sewer rates.
Yes, 100%.
That thing that's in the mail soon or might already be in the mail, where they're going to tell you to whether you're in the city, your sewer rate should go up or not. And, you know, I don't own property, I rent, but I don't know. I don't know I don't know how to vote on this. I don't know if I did own a house, how I would vote on this thing, because we've got to deal with it inevitably. I mean, it's due to incompetence of our municipal leadership. There's no question about that, but we just can't continue to kick the thing down the curb. You know, at some point we're gonna have to pay for it. But Mr. Turnipseed insists every Thursday that he comes in here that there's a better way to do it. He keeps telling us that we can bond our way out of it. But of course, the first thought of elected officials or city leaders is to tax us, to get it out of us. It's just the lazy, easy way. You know what I'm saying? 842-537-6842 KER, and let's check the board, see what you all are talking about on this gorgeous afternoon. God, I should have called in sick. Should have gone hit golf ball today.
Is it bad that when you told me that too, in my head, I was like, you should have done it. You should have done it, dang it.
I should have. But
Not that it would have mattered. I'd still be here for the next 3 hours.
I know. I couldn't have done it though. For 10 minutes, I had the whole day planned. I was gonna go to Luigi's. Then I was like, God, but I'll be seen. Like, what if the boss goes to Luigi's?
Mental health day.
Yeah.
They can't mess with you for that.
I mean, I can just tell the truth. Hey.
Well, and technically,
Yeah.
we all have a floating holiday
True that.
that you could use.
Yeah. I was kidding. I wouldn't have lied to JR.
No.
I would have told JR straight up, hey, look, dude, I am ridiculously flush because we just got paid.
Yeah.
We just got paid, what, yesterday? The day
Essentially, you
before?
got paid twice.
Yeah, exactly. More than twice, because the money I had account is more than I got paid yesterday.
True.
So I am FLUSH, flush. And you guys know me, or I don't know if you know me, but there's a reason I'm not rich. God specifically said, no, Ralph, you can't be rich because you would be broke. I am so stupid when I have money. That's why
I'm the same way.
That's why losing the money made me feel so ridiculous, because I was finally ahead. I had just paid my bills literally the day before I got scammed. And I still had a big chunk of money, and we were getting paid like in the next 8 or 9 days. And this is gonna be a good weekend, Jack. And you know what? I'm gonna win some money Sunday with Mark Swaim and the boys. I'm telling
you.
you.
I was about to say, don't you jump on that stupid app again.
No, oh no.
No. Get that out of your head.
It's 50 bones,
No.
Vince. It's 50 bones.
No.
I can't make five
No.
$10 bets.
No.
Five $10 bets.
No.
14 parlays.
Look, man.
10 to win 150.
I'm
I'm
looking
on
out
a
for you at this
roll,
point.
dude. I'm butter.
Nope.
I'm on a roll.
No.
No?
You are not, though. You are not.
No,
on
I'm
the
really
roll.
not. I'm just a lucky SOB. I'm so freaking stupid lucky. So stupid lucky. But I'm going to do something stupid. You know me. I really will. What else you got?
How do you fight back when someone is dropping bombs on you out of the sky? That's not war.
What do you mean that's not war? Well, how do you define war beyond that it's hell, as William Tecumseh Sherman said in 1864 as he marched through my home state of Georgia? What is war? What do you mean? Of course you couldn't. And I think, for the first time, I woke up today and started paying attention to what we're doing. I think there's a possibility that we could successfully devastate the Iranians and call it victory. Again, we've got air control, which is everything. We have decimated their Navy. We can absolutely obliterate their Navy. We can get rid of their Navy. And then I was thinking, all these people and all these groups are vying to take over from the Ayatollah. But do you really want that spot right now? Do you really want to be the head of Iran right now? Because not only do you take on the title of Ayatollah, and apparently they're saying that it's going to be his son and how he could be worse than the dad. And it's true. As I talked about earlier this week, since 1979, since the exile of the Shah, each Ayatollah has been worse. We've had this one, the one that we just killed, for over 40 years. But do you really want that spot? Not only are you taking on the title of Ayatollah, but you're taking on a target on your back from the United States and Israel. Remember, Israel is playing a big part of this. And as I stated at the top of the show, they're stepping up the attacks on Tehran, the capital. And there's going to be 15 waves. And the president and Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, has said that the big wave from us is about to hit as well. I don't know if you really want to be the leader of Iran right now. And I don't understand what the president means, though, by saying that they should lay down their weapons. Lay them down to whom? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What else you got? Well, a couple more.
The best way to pay for the sewers is to stop paying for the 4 police chiefs that are retired and cut some of the benefits of the retired employees of the county and city.
Are we at 4? And Terry will be 5, or does Terry make the 4th? Are we counting Terry already, even though he's not leaving till April? You got Matlock is dead. I'm sorry. Eric Matlock passed away. You got my good friend Greg Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Lyle.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bill Rector. And that's it. And Mr. Terry will be the 4th.
Yeah, I think he'd be 4.
So I think we're counting him before April. Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the 80s and the 90s and the deals that the city council leaders then, who were just as stupid, the Mark Salvaggios and the Barbara Patricks and Kevin McDermott, that whole group back in the 90s that I covered as a reporter, and the pensions that they set up. And these guys now are smart. Terry's smart. He's in his mid 50s. They put in their 20, 30, 25 years, and they get out. They're making 180, maybe 200 grand, and they get that for the rest of their life. And, why don't we tell, I don't know. I don't think I could have ever been a cop. I think, as I always talk about, I think there are certain jobs that you have to have certain character for. And I'm kind of, what's the word, Chris? I'm a coward. Yeah, that's the word. So I literally could not possibly be a police officer. I'm not running down a dark alley with a guy after a gun. I just ran into my good friend Edmund Jackson, the kid that I went to CSUB with. You old folks may remember Edmund. He played on the back-to-back championship teams in 93 and 94 when I was at Cal State. And we were pretty good friends. His wife now, his then girlfriend, was in the communications department with me, Erica. And I ran into him at Noble Elementary the day that I was reading to the 4th and 5th graders there, and he was there. And he was complaining that he's got a desk gig. And I was like, Edmund, that's a good job, my brother. You don't want to be on the streets where it's dangerous. And he was like, Ralph, the streets are more dangerous for you than they are for me.
And I was kind of confused. I was like, huh? He's like, well, I have a gun and a vest. You're out there by yourself. And then we talked about me getting a CCW, and he echoed what Sheriff Youngblood has said to me. He said, you absolutely should get one. I was like, really? He said, at 100,000%. He said, Ralph, the streets are dangerous. He said, I was like, well, I'd be limited. Like, I couldn't take it to Casey's Steakhouse. You know, I couldn't take it with me when I go out. If I went out on a date or something, because I'll be drinking. You can't carry a weapon when you've been drinking. What, am I going to take it to the golf course with me? I don't know. But yeah, he was rather insistent. He was like, yes, you should definitely get a concealed weapons permit. I mean, the only place I would be able to take it is like to work. But, you know, we've been attacked. You know, there's the famous or infamous hatchet attack where we had a guy come up here 100 years ago. Maybe it was literally, because we just celebrated our 13th anniversary. So it was probably literally 10 years ago. It was probably like my third or fourth year here. And it was back in the old studios. These are all new studios we've had for what? About 5-6 years now, Chris? But we used to have this little tiny dinky studio, literally with sliding glass doors. And it was a tiny room that could seat like 6 or 7 people tops. And a guy came in with a hatchet the size of a baseball bat and hit the window, and then hit, as he was going away, took out one of our side mirrors on one of our vans. And the famous story is JR running after him with his phone. And I'm like, get back in here. What's the matter with you? What if he stops the car and gets out with that baseball-sized hatchet and you were sitting there with a phone? But so I don't know. Maybe I should get one. I'm a knucklehead. You know what I'm saying? I'm Don Knotts. I'd end up shooting myself in the foot.
I'm just sitting here thinking about JR chasing after a man with a machete.
The craziest thing I ever saw, dude. The craziest thing. Because I'm sitting here. We had a window. Did you ever see the old studios?
No, I wasn't here at the time.
Yeah. We had a window to the studio that looked out to the hallway that led to the very front door. That's where we give away stuff.
Right.
That's where our studios was. Where we give away. So we had a direct line on the front door. And JR could see him come in. I had my back to the window. And he hit the window with that hack. And I jumped. And like I said, you think I'm kidding. There's a big yellow streak right down here. So I hear that and I jump and I get under. I didn't know where there was a gun. And I'm like this underneath the table. And JR goes running out. And I look and the guy swipes at our side window on our van, jumps in his car. And JR goes running past me like, where are you going, boy? Get back in here. He running in the parking lot with his phone. I got you. And I'm like, he comes back and I go, JR, what would you have done if my man goes, and gets out of the car with that Adirondack size hatchet? Man, he could have sliced him up into tiny little Swiss cheese pieces. That was crazy. It was a brother. And that's the only thing that got me off the hook, because, you know, everybody was joking. You know they were coming for you, right, Ralph? And I was like, no. And they're like, why? Why you say that? I said, because it was a young black guy. And young black guys ain't listening to my show. Tell you that. Okay, yeah. So who do you think? My guess, the talk around the campfire, should I say? Right here. That's who they thought it was.
Really?
Yeah. Because, you know, I don't know.
I would think more of that one.
Randizzle?
No.
Romeo?
Yeah.
Maybe. Never could figure out.
Romeo's gotten a lot of haters and a lot of like avid haters over the years.
And yet he's got the highest ratings in the town.
That's how you make
It's
him.
the craziest thing in the world.
Shock value, Shock Entertainment.
I guess our morning guy on Hot is one of the most hated on-air personalities in Kern County, literally.
I don't know if he's hated or just hated on.
And his number, they tried to get a petition to get him off the air.
No,
and his numbers are out the roof.
That's absolutely true.
His numbers are out the roof. If I had half his ratings, I'd be kicking in the door demanding for a raise. And they hate, because he's honest and he trolls. And they're like, no, you're stupid, Romeo. He is the true Howard Stern of Kern County. He really is. And he's a stick too, which I hate. He's kind of a really good golfer. I played with him once in a golf tournament. The guy said like 6 words to me, so we don't really get along that much. But I can't deny the guy is one of the most, if not the most popular on-air talent in this town. And they absolutely love to hate him. They love to hate him. It's amazing. Y'all just hate me. Y'all love to hate me too. There was a guy that compared me to Biden, but he listens every day because he made some allusion to my past. But he listens every day. But he called me Biden and called me incompetent. Radio listeners are very strange people. I love you, but y'all are some weird folks. Just saying. Quick time out. We'll come back, and I got a bunch of stuff to get to. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, though, you got to really hang on. Our good friend Charlie Wilmot, who is one of the pillars of Honor Flight, he's been on at least 20 trips back to D.C., chaperoning our veterans who get to go back at no expense to see their respective memorials. Well, he is in Abu Dhabi and stuck. We'll find out why he's there with his lovely wife, Mary, and how does Sam Hill, he's going to get home. We'll do that at 5 o'clock. I suggest you hang on. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Friday, a beautiful blue sky Friday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM.
Casey.
Weekdays at 2 p.m.
$500,000 for a building that is burned down 23 times in the last year, and it only makes me ask, why the hell haven't we just let this thing burn down to the ground already? And then the internet, as great as it is, the comment says, the person that reports this fire didn't call 911.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now that normalcy has returned to my life and my bank account, you know where I'm headed this weekend, KC Steakhouse. I'm even going to cheat a little bit on my diet, have a little protein, just trying to figure out, am I going to have the filet, which is just unbelievable when it's cooked medium rare. You can almost eat it with a fork. Or do I have the New York, which is one of my favorites? A lot of people like the ribeye, but I'm a New York or filet guy. But what I always talk about, as you well know, is how Chef expanded the menu. And when large groups go for birthdays and anniversaries, not everybody is feeling red meat. Well, that's the beauty of the finest steakhouse in Kern County. Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. I've told you about the mahi-mahi, the halibut that I absolutely love, and the salmon, outstanding for your high blood pressure. Don't forget about the Stockyard next door. Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights, they have live music. And of course, as I tell you all the time, Bobby and Jimmy are providing live music in the main restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Where would you rather be? Come join me this weekend at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. If you're eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. You know, for years, I've been telling you QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today, 661-554-4544, and let us help you understand your options for 2026. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need. Coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs and meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Crime is already skyrocketing in 2026. You may already own a firearm, but before you face the financial, legal, and emotional weight of pulling the trigger, there's a smarter option. Byrna, that's BYRNA. Byrna makes less lethal launchers that fire tear gas and kinetic rounds designed to stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes, giving you time to escape and call for help without deadly consequences. Their best-selling compact launcher is sleek, slim, and incredibly powerful. About the size of a smartphone, it's ideal for concealed carry, comfortable, discreet, and confidence-building. It fires at 400 feet per second with zero threat fast without the legal and moral American. Over 85% of components are U.S. sourced and hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. With over 750,000 sold worldwide, Byrna is best in class, and it's legal in all 50 states. No background checks, shipped straight to your door. Visit Byrna.com today and find the right launcher for your family. That's BYRNA.com.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Can't believe she really wants you to die.
The Current Radio Studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. I didn't pull out the bobbleheads yesterday. I was so screwed up in the head. For all your IT needs, call Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. And of course, we are clients of Adaptive Networks because IT is so important to a radio station. That's why we've teamed up with them. So join them. And again, every other Wednesday, we talk with owner-operators Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne. In the meantime, Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who's fighting a fierce runoff in his primary to keep his 23rd congressional seat down in Uvalde, Texas, has finally succumbed, to use television verbs. He has succumbed to the pressure put on by Speaker Johnson and others to step out of the race. He had an affair with a staffer, which is against the law, actually, for a Congress member to have an affair with a staffer. And what happened was, I don't think it was the pressure of the legislators and his speaker, Mr. Johnson. I think what happened was the husband who ratted him out and started releasing text messages that he found, because the wife, remember, and I buried the lead, no pun intended, she took her own life. In fact, she engulfed herself in flames. That's how this story got out of control. It became more than just, an employer taking advantage of a staffer. It became an employer who really did something that led to a staffer's death, and a horrendous death at that. I mean, of all the many ways a person could take one's life, for a young woman that young, she was in her 20s, to engulf herself in flames. And what happened, I believe, is, just from what I saw, the husband started upping, like he just, I guess to save his own pride, gave out some fairly, non-sexual text messages that they exchanged. Like, hey, baby, send me a sexy pic and blah, blah, blah. And stuff that clearly showed he had overstepped the boundaries. And as the audio that we played when Manu Raju interviewed him walking through the rotunda, he's just denied it. Well, the husband then released some really funky ones, and there was nothing he could do. Plus, now he's going to avoid being investigated by the ethics committee. But I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't charges leveled against this guy, because, as I mentioned, it is against the law for a member of Congress to have a sexual relationship with a staffer. We'll head into the back half of the hour. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Friday. I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump said Friday that he would not seek a deal with Iran without the country's unconditional. Washington warned of a forthcoming bombing campaign that officials said would be the most intense of the week-long conflict. Israel said it began a broad wave of strikes on Tehran early this Saturday, with associated video showing explosions and large plumes of smoke billowing over the western part of the capital city. American employers unexpectedly cut 92,000 jobs last month, a sign that the labor market remains under strain. The unemployment rate flipped up to 4.4%. The Dow down by 453 points. The Nasdaq dropped 361. The S&P declined 90. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN News. Live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Bakersfield's new police chief is Brent Stratton. The department announced that today. Stratton will replace retiring Chief Greg Terry May 1st. Stratton has 22 years with Bakersfield PD and many of the departments and units, including patrol, SWAT, the gang unit, investigations, and internal affairs. He says this is his dream job. If you get a call claiming to be from Southern California Edison Electric and they demand payment right now or you'll be cut off, that is likely a scam, says the company. People in Central California have been getting those calls, which are designed to create panic and make you give up the money. The company says I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, it could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Passing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to CS. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary and prior results do not get. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 710 Plaza, Suite 601, New York, New York 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Monday edition of the First Look program, it should be a hoot. We got the latest on the unpleasantness in the Iran. We have our first Formula One race in the books. We got the hot list. We've got America's Job Center. And we're going to throw in news, traffic, and weather at no additional charge. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I forgot to talk about. Well, first, I forgot to tell Mr. Bentley that somebody in the chat room very nicely said they love the Rick Bentley segment. So, Mr. Bentley, if you're listening, you got fans chiming in. But I forgot to talk to him about, did you hear this? There was another death on what is the only true reality show on television? To me, there's only one that is an actual reality show that catches
that's going today.
That's still on the air, I believe. Apparently,
The Real World.
no.
That's why I had to ask because
No.
that's the first one.
No.
No,
This is based on real events, real people at work doing what they do, and I think there have been like 3 or 4 deaths. That's the story. There's been another death. In fact, that's in the title, Deadliest Catch.
Oh, true.
Deadliest Catch is the only reality show. If you guys watch this, it's sword and crab, and what else do they fish for? Swordfish, crabs, and
really just shellfish in general. I think lobster, stuff like that. Just anything that's valuable.
It's based on the guys that the movie with George Clooney, Perfect Storm is based on. The Gloucester fishermen that there was a perfect storm where there were 3 storms that collided, based on an absolutely true story. Mark Wahlberg plays a great movie if you've never seen it, with George Clooney as the captain, and they are Gloucester fishermen, and George Clooney is a fisherman who's kind of down on his luck, who's a hot shot for a while, but now he's down on his luck, and they have a tough time as it starts to go. And then they go further out than they're supposed to, or they normally do, and they hit it big. But the problem is they can either dump the fish and wait or wait out the storms,
where the fish will go bad and all this wonderful fish they caught was worthless, or they try to make it through these 3 storms that collided together. And obviously they opted for the latter, and they don't make it. It's an absolute true story. All hands were lost, and it's really the last. Have you seen it? Have you ever seen A Perfect Storm?
No, well, actually, yes. Yeah, I have seen A Perfect Storm just a while ago.
It's a tough last half hour. I mean, to see George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg, particularly Wahlberg, because he's the last one out of the boat, and you just see him bobbing up and down on these massive waves. They do it really well. But you see him just bobbing up and down massive waves, and you see him once, and you see him twice, and then the third time you just don't see him, and it's just waves, and it's just, man, that is to me. We were just talking about this: being stabbed, burned, or drowning. You think drowning would be cool?
Oh no!
I thought you said that you didn't think
I said drowning would be the worst.
Yeah, yeah. Because dude, I've almost drowned twice. And I don't like to say that because that feeds into the whole stereotype that black folks can't swim, when in fact I swim incredibly well. One time I got a cramp. We had a pool when we lived in Ladera, and there was nobody home. My parents, I was about 14, 15, and my parents specifically told us never to swim when there was nobody home, never, ever. Well, I never paid attention to that. And I got a cramp that's how I got the cramp. I had just seen Jaws. That's what it was. I was like 12, 13, and I had just seen Jaws. And I had a boogie board. It was about like this that I used to, why are people texting me? I'm working. Do you mind? You don't mind if I work, do you? Earn a living? And I had this boogie board that I used to keep, that I take to the beach and just kind of screw around in the pool. And I used to swim underwater to try to get in shape. And I was swimming underwater, and I looked up, and I saw a black shadow. This is how stupid I am. And I swear I thought it was a shark. I thought there was a shark off of Slauson Avenue in Los Angeles, in Ladera Heights at 6141 Bedford Avenue.
I mean, it clearly just knocked the pipes, Ralph.
Clearly. And I freaked out, and I got a cramp in my thigh. And I didn't panic at first. I just kind of sunk to the bottom of the pool and tried to work the cramp out. And then I started to realize I'm running out of oxygen. And I can't swim because my leg is totally cramped. And we had like these tiny little steps and the little bars in the deep end that you pull yourself up on. And I was in about 9 feet of water. I could not swim, and I kind of barely made it to the side. And I remember I still, like an idiot, had my hand on my right thigh. I wasn't even using both arms. I had my hand on my right thigh, and I was pulling myself up with my left arm. And I finally got a hold of one of the bars, and I was able to pull myself up just to catch my breath. And then I kind of straightened my leg out and just kind of sit there and kind of worked it out. And then finally got out of the pool. It was just like, dude, you came close. I mean, I was close to death. But the real brush with death, and again, it's just another crazy coincidence generated by current events. It was April 16th, 1987. And it was the 40th anniversary, April 15th, the day before. God damn it. Movie was Perfect Storm. Great. Thank you. God. The reason I know it was April 16th, because it was the day after the 40th anniversary of Jackie Robinson getting into baseball. And as every good Dodger fan knows, right, Dodger fans? Jackie Robinson got into baseball April 15th, 1947. So this was the 40th anniversary. And they had Al Campanis on, for the old folks who remember, Ted Koppel. Ted Koppel had a 15 or half an hour show from like 11:30 to 11:45 or 11:30 to 12. I can't remember. I think it was 11:30 to 12. And he was interviewing Al Campanis, who was a great friend of Jackie Robinson's and was part of the reasons that the Dodger organization to this day is still so productive, because Al Campanis was a man way above his time, before his time. Al was one of the guys that instructed Walter O'Malley that we should go to the Dominican, that we should go to Cuba, that he had traveled through the South
literally not like south of the United States, like literally in Central America and Mexico, etc., and said, you should see these guys. And he'd been to Cuba, because this is in the 40s and the 50s before Castro. And he said, these guys can play, and these guys can play here. And if we're going to break the barrier with Jackie, we might as well get Puerto Rican players as well. It's where we got Roberto Clemente, and the Dodgers were one of the first organizations that they had. That's why Tommy and all those 70s and 80s coaches, Joey Amalfitano, and all those guys spoke fluent Spanish, because O'Malley put the word down, we're going into this area. And again, the Dodgers did it again with the Asian players. Do you know that there are only 5 Japanese players?
Yep.
In baseball? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, current, yeah.
And we have 3 of them: Roki, Yoshi, and of course, the greatest player who ever lived.
Yeah.
But I thought it would have been more than that.
Well, I mean, there have been a handful that have come in and out, obviously, Ichiro and all of these other
Right.
guys, but it's not very many.
But we were one of the leaders in that. Nomo and all those guys that we had back in the turn of the century. So Campanis goes on Ted Koppel, and Ted Koppel starts with the typical questions about Jackie and your relationship with Jackie. And then he says, but Mr. Campanis, one of the things that Mr. Robinson said before he died was in a very, very famous speech that was opening day about I think it was 74. And the year had ended with Hank at 713, Henry Aaron. He was at 713, which means he needed 2 home runs in the next season to break Babe Ruth's record. So it was clear he was going to do it. And it was opening day at Cincinnati, and he hit 714 that day, as a matter of fact. Bowie Kuhn was there, and Jackie was there, and Jackie gave a very famous speech where he said, I'm very proud that we're honoring this black man today, but I'll be even more proud when there's a black man in the third base box. And for guys like Chris, has no idea what I'm talking about. But back in the 20th century, the manager used to be the third base coach. And then that kind of, for whatever reason, kind of filtered. Dodger fans would know. Once that filtered out, again, when the Dodgers would get into a slump, Tommy would go out and be the third base coach just to reinvigorate the guys. And, Tommy, when he's the third base coach, if he wanted you to get down and slide, he'd get on his belly, to tell you to get down. And so that's what Jackie was talking about, that hopefully one day we'll have a black manager. And I think 5 years later, Frank Robinson, whom I met at Dodger Stadium with Mike Parent, Mike Big Dog, what became the first African-American manager. But then he started asking him some questions, Al Campanis, why has there not been a black manager? And this was the beginning of the end of Al Campanis. Because, it's hard to say that he wasn't, given what he said, but he said it so casually, and he had such a great relationship with black players. He was very good friends with Jackie and Don Newcomb and Roy Campanella. And I just think that's why I've always said, I always my whole life have said, if you were born before 1942 and you're kind of mentally a bigot, I'll give you a pass. You know why? Because you were raised like that. Your government told you you were superior to blacks. You know what I'm saying? But if you're born after that period, if you're born in the 50s and the 60s, meaning that you grew up in the 60s and the 70s, there's no excuse for you to be a bigot. There's absolutely no excuse. But if you grew up in that generation, age, you're in your 80s, your country told you were better than blacks. Your country told you that blacks shouldn't vote and blacks were inferior. So I'll give you a pass. But he went on to say that when asked why there aren't any black managers, he said, well, you'll notice there are not any black quarterbacks either. And there are no black managers in football. There are no black coaches because black people just don't have the mental capacity to be leaders. And then Koppel, if you go back and watch this, I should have got the audio. Maybe we'll play it for you on April 15th. Well, I won't be here, but maybe on the 14th or the 16th. But then Koppel tries to give him an out. And he's like, you certainly don't mean you're not smart enough to be managers. And he says, well, look at the evidence. There aren't any. And then, no, they don't have the leadership. And then he said something about there aren't any black swimmers because we don't have the physiological buoyancy to swim well.
He literally said that. He said, and the proof is in the pudding. When was the last time a black guy won a gold medal in the Olympics in swimming? There you go. And Koppel was just like, and the very next day, after literally 87, 40 years with the Dodgers, and really being one of the foundations of the Dodgers' success in their transition to Los Angeles, they let him go. They had to let him go. It was not even, I mean, he did it on national television, and he did it so matter-of-factly. And the very next day at Santa Monica Beach, I'm with Chet, who I'm still friends with, lives in Sacramento, and Marcus, the late Marcus Johnson, who passed away a couple years ago. And literally the last thing I said before I jumped in the water, I said, all right, fellas, I'm going to swim. I'm going to prove old Al Campanis wrong. And I'm diving on the waves. I'm swimming. I'm out there. And finally, I'm trying to swim back, and I get caught in a tide. And I didn't panic. I tried to be a lifeguard when I was in college, and I was always told that you swim parallel with the beach. You don't fight it perpendicular to the beach. You swim parallel with the beach and get out of the and then swim in. And so I swim parallel, going this way, and now I'm just exhausted. Now I'm just dog paddling, just trying to keep my head above water. And I see this white kid standing up about 10 feet, 15 feet from me. And I'm like, dude, you got to help me. I don't think I'm going to make it. And he goes, dude, you're tripping. Stand up. I'm like, oh, thank God. And I was in like 10 feet of water. And then finally, the only thing I knew, I was like, and next thing I know, this guy had grabbed my arm and kind of dragged me and saved my life. Absolutely saved my life. I was coughing up water. I had water in my lungs. I was a goner. That little blonde-headed white kid had saved my life. And I got back, and Chet and the guys were like, what took you so long? And I was like, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. I almost cashed in my chips. I really, really did. Anyway, I'm in just such a jubilant mood. I'm just rambling today. I really am. But when we come back, there's great news on the gubernatorial front. I shall explain. And then coming up the 5 o'clock hour, please stand by. We're going to talk with one of our dear friends, Charlie Wilmot. He and his wife are stuck in Abu Dhabi. We'll find out how he's doing, what he's doing there, particularly at this time. And out of Sam Hill, we're going to get Charlie back home. They're talking about this John Starkey, who's stuck, I guess, in Qatar. And he's all over the news. But Charlie's in Abu Dhabi, and he didn't make the news. Well, he's going to make our show. He's going to talk to us at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, latest updates from our aerial campaign against the mullahs in Iran. What is the Trump administration doing to pull some resistance from inside Iran? We'll discuss that, plus the jobs numbers, the economy, all of it pointing toward the midterms. We'll discuss how the political landscape's looking on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
And we're back. Rob and Bob here once again for California.
You wanted both, right?
Okay.
Okay. I just want to let you know.
Okay.
To sell citrus
and nuts.
dates, nuts, dried fruits. We need to tell people where we are as if they can't do it by Google. And if you don't know where we are by now,
you're not listening enough.
You're really not listening.
Get in your car, drive around, and
Here's
listen.
something that you're going to pay attention to. I would like to, and I hate to get political, I would like to merge Kern County with San Luis Obispo County.
That's a great idea.
We can do a lot with it.
What took you so long?
They can use our resources. We can use their
for property for us.
Listen, oil, ag, and beach. Movie, you need a tag phrase in California Fruit Depot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The one we've been using is, it's just like Disney, but with only citrus.
I think it's too complicated, way too long.
And the cease and desist letters are stacking up high. Enough about this foolishness. Just visit California Fruit Depot. Come on out to Edison and say hi.
I mean, what a pro.
Are you craving a mouth-watering sandwich that's packed with flavor? Then look no further than Caesar's Deli, where they craft some of the best sandwiches in town. Sink your teeth into our signature classic, Caesar's Special, featuring 2 kinds of salami, premium ham, and the irresistible taste of Nona's secret meat sauce. sandwich experience that you won't forget. But that's not the only sandwich they offer. No, no, no. Satisfy your craving with a savory smoked turkey sandwich, or indulge yourself in the loaded pastrami, or for the adventurous eater, they offer pickled tongue. And here's the best part. Caesar's Deli has incredible lunch specials designed to fill you up without emptying your wallet. Plus, did you know that Caesar's Deli has a full-service deli offering a variety of over 60 meats and cheeses? It's a sandwich lover's paradise, and that's why Caesar's Deli has been a local favorite and proudly serving Bakersfield since 1971. Visit Caesar's Deli today. Located on the corner of Brim Hall and Callaway behind the beautiful water fountain.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the way to protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
The Arms and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Show.
Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. Just saw him, the late Glenn Campbell. I told you that Turner Classic Movie during the month of the Oscars plays Oscar-nominated and Oscar-winning movies, and I just watched for the 100th time True Grit with Glenn Campbell. I don't know why Glenn Campbell did not pursue an acting career, because he's great in that role. He's much better in that role than Matt Damon is in the sequel. Did you see the sequel? Have you seen the original? You seen the original with John Wayne?
Yes.
And then you saw the sequel with Jeff Bridges?
Yes.
Yeah, the sequel was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Jeff Bridges, and I love Jeff Bridges. Love Jeff Bridges, but he wasn't very good.
No,
and Matt Damon was not very good as the Glenn
one of the
Campbell
best
character.
parts of it, though, and her career has gotten so much better since then, was with Haley Steinfeld, though.
I know, I cannot believe that was her.
I didn't either until a couple weeks or months ago when I saw a picture and I said, "Oh my God, that is her."
Yeah, because she was kind of like a scrawny little kid, and now
she's to Josh Allen.
That's right. That's right. That's right, because they were giving him crap that he's the only quarterback in the NFL other than Russell Wilson, whose wife's more, and Travis Kelce, but he's not a quarterback, whose wife is more famous than he is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's no, think about that. How can you be more famous than an NFL quarterback? Well, if you're an actress or Taylor Swift, but my bet is still alive. They have still not made it to the chapel. What is it, in June?
Betting against love, man.
I know. And I love Travis. I just don't think, I watched, because they had Randy Moss on this week. Have you seen this episode?
I have not.
Oh, it's a classic.
Saw clips from it, though.
Oh, Randy Moss is the funniest. He was an underrated, well, apparently not underrated because he's in the Hall of Fame. But, because we damn near ruined his career, his little 2-year stint in Oakland. We damn near ruined his career. And it was resurrected in New England, where he set records with Tom Brady. But he never won a Super Bowl. He got to New England, and he's one of the few Patriots during that era that did not win a Super Bowl. Randy Moss does not have a ring. He's the Charles Barkley of the NFL. But he is the guest of Jason and Travis Kelce on their podcast. And the daughter comes and interrupts. That's probably what you saw, because that's gone viral, where his daughter comes in and says, "Hi." Classic. But there is good news. The ballot is solid now. The issue has been the number of Democratic candidates. And that's the only reason there is a little bit of light coming down that tunnel that, as much as you may not believe it,
there is a growing opportunity that two Republicans, unfortunately for us, two Republicans can't stand each other, Steve Hilton and Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, but there is a growing likelihood that they could both be atop of the leaderboard. Steve Hilton is currently leading in the last poll with 14%, followed by, and Kathy was right, Katie Porter has revived herself. She's in second. I mean, she really hasn't revived herself. She's just hovering amongst the low turnout and low voter approval, where she's got 13% and she's second. And Bianco is third at 12%. And even the state chair, the state party chair, went to, the headline was today, the state party chair, a man by the name of Rusty Hicks, went to all the candidates who were below 5% and said, get the hell out of the race. Antonio Villaraigosa, Betty Yee with your 2%, Tony Thurman, the black superintendent of schools, with your 1.5%. Get the hell out of the way, and let's avoid this two top-tier Republicans assuring us that we're going to end up with a Republican governor. And they all said no, all but one, Ian Calderon, who none of us have ever heard of. I don't know about y'all, but I'd never heard of him until this morning when I found out that he's getting out of the gubernatorial race. He's the only one. There are 8 candidates that are going to be on that ballot, and that is glorious news if you are a Republican. Because I'm telling you, we're assured one of them will be, either Hilton or Bianco will be in the final. That's not a problem. The problem is, as we all know, we are a one-party state, and whoever the Democrat is, they would love to be able to go up against a Republican because they would have to screw it up to lose. They really would. But if we can get both these guys in, we've got a chance. Do we have time? Do one. Here's our recent interview with Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco.
I'm not going to criticize somebody else, but I will tell you that knowing how things have transpired, it would have been drastically different in my county. I'm a major, large county, much larger than that county.
Yeah.
And I would have been begging for federal resources to come in and help. I would have been wanting everything that they had to find the missing person, regardless of who it was, whether it's a celebrity or whether it's not. A kidnapping, we always involve our federal partners. The resources are just too great. You don't want to turn that away.
That was the sheriff reacting to my criticism of Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, who I think has absolutely botched the Guthrie investigation. And as you heard him say, I'm not going to bag on a fellow sheriff, but wouldn't have gone like that in Riverside County, which is basically his way of saying they've screwed it up, which they have. They absolutely have. I wish our two leading Republicans could get along, but they don't. But I'm telling you, we've got a shot, but you got to talk to your people. It's not enough just to vote in this gubernatorial race. You got to make sure that your friends and your relatives are voting. We got a shot. We really do. Final hour. We're about to talk with Charlie Wilmot live from Abu Dhabi.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield.
News this hour. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Russia reportedly has provided Iran with information that could help Tehran strike American warships, aircraft, and other assets in the region.
The information comes from two officials familiar with U.S. intelligence on the matter. White House Press Secretary Caroline downplayed reports that Russia was sharing intelligence with Iran about U.S. targets.
That clearly is not making a difference with respect to the military operations in Iran because we are completely decimating them.
Leavitt declined to say if President Trump had spoken to Russia's Vladimir Putin about the intelligence. Greg Clugston, Washington.
It's time to spring forward this weekend, something not very popular with many folks.
According to an AP NORC poll last year, if they had to choose, most Americans say they would prefer to make daylight savings time permanent rather than standard time. Right, with the University of Colorado says that choice has some implications.
We are on permanent daylight saving time. We're going to have many more dark mornings. People will be driving to work. Children will be standing there for the bus or walking to school in the dark. And it can increase that by more than 100 days compared to what we currently do right now.
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A gun rights YouTuber in Texas who goes by the name AK Guy on social media has a clear path to the GOP nomination for Congress after Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez ended his re-election campaign over revelations of an affair. Brandon Herrera had forced a May runoff, but now carries the GOP mantle across an 800-mile patch along the border that was strongly Republican in 2024. Another rough day on Wall Street with the Dow down by 453 points, the NASDAQ dropping 90. More at townhall.com.
A Social Security update. 70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits today, and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael through and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits. Whether you're getting benefits or soon will, you need the Social Security report. Call 800-999-9690. 800 Social Security taxes. Call now, 800-999. 800-999-9690. Text and data rates may apply.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A new police chief for Bakersfield. I'm Chris Davis. His name is Brett Stratton, and he's been with the department for more than 20 years. It takes effect May 1st. Stratton is filling the position after the retirement of Chief Greg Terry. Right now, Stratton oversees field services and special operations. The department, though, says he has experience with the SWAT team, internal affairs, patrol, and even the gang unit. California gas has gone up again. Gas Buddy reports the average price in the state today is $4.83. A car hit the back of a semi-truck and burst into flames just before 5 this morning south of Shafter on Highway 43 near Orange Street, killing the driver of that Toyota Corolla, says the Highway Patrol. It is not clear yet how fast the Corolla was going. The driver was pinned inside there and couldn't get out. It is unknown right now if drugs or alcohol were a factor in that wreck. No name has been released. And customers of Southern California Edison Electric here in Central California. The company has a recording of one of the calls where the scammer says the person is late paying their bill and has to come up with $300 in 30 minutes or they get cut off. Southern California Electric says you can feel free to contact them to check it out if you get one of those calls. If you graduated Bakersfield College in 2025, you may have a typo on your diploma. If so, the college says they are automatically sending out new diplomas to those.
Again, they'll do anything for money.
Or 24, you can fill out a form to send in and get a new diploma if there is a mistake. The president says you should be able to be proud to display that hard-earned document. Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERN.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Friday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Coming up after the break, I'll tell you about the Jackson Celebration of Life. They buried Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. in Chicago. I'll tell you who was there among the presidents and dignitaries and who was conspicuously not there.
The president is holding today, or held, I should say, a college sports forum where some of the greatest minds in all of sports gathered at the White House, including Tiger Woods, Nick Saban. I'll explain my problem and what I think they should fix. And Sharon Moore, the former University of Michigan coach, pleaded no contest to a lesser charge, got his 3 felonies dismissed. I'll explain that. But first, we bring in one of our dear friends of the program, dear friend of mine, and one of the guys that makes Honor Flight Kern County, I think, the best honor flight in the nation, our good friend Charlie Wilmot, live from Abu Dhabi. Charlie, how you doing? How are you and Mary doing?
Well, we're doing really, really well.
Considering.
It's good to hear your name. Good to have a connection back to the United States.
Yeah. Well, let's first get to the chase. Have you figured out a route back home? Do you know when you're coming back?
We were originally scheduled for March 7th, and of course, with all the action that's been going on over here, the airport's been closed. It was reopened yesterday in Dubai and Abu Dhabi also to limited flights. We have a new flight date of March 13th.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So 6 extra days here in country. That too often since I was in Vietnam. I'm leaving the country.
Okay, now let's go back to the very beginning. Why are you just a vacation, just you and Mary, and why Abu Dhabi of all places?
Well, we started out, we booked this a little over a year ago. I've always been just enthralled with the architecture and the development in this area as well as the culture. So that was our initial plan. So we booked it a year out. The thing was hunky-dory right then. And then Mary and I got married on December the 29th. So we've been married a total of 67 days now. So we thought we'd make it a honeymoon also.
Nice. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. It's been quite the adventure. So we started out on February 23rd, heading from Bakersfield to Denver to go to Newark, to go to Dubai. The whole East Coast got shut down, as we know, from the snowstorm. So we were held over in Denver for about 8 hours. They got to Munich. And so we flew to Munich, about another 8-hour delay, and then into Dubai.
Did you get to spend some time in Munich, or you just stayed at the airport?
We were just in the airport. Okay. It was about 6.5 hours.
Okay.
Stay right there. So we got in Dubai, met up with our tour leaders, got to our hotel. It was about 25 minutes from the Dubai airport to that, and the architecture just started, slamming all over me. I'm going, this is fantastic. So we had a fantastic 3.5, 4 days in Dubai, and just seeing a lot of cultural things, going around to museums. We were in the tallest building in the world, 164-story building in Dubai. So just doing a lot of tourist things.
Yeah, because Dubai is really the crown of the UAE, but Abu Dhabi is the capital, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we started heading to Abu Dhabi, and we stopped along the way. It's one of the things was a fort that was built back in the 1890s, and we visited there for a while. Several places just for restroom breaks. It was about a 4-hour drive. So, but we got to Abu Dhabi all right. We went out the next day and rode some camels.
Really?
One of our bucket list things. And
what was that like?
That was just as amazing as you thought it was. The camels just sitting down on all four, climbing on is not much more than getting on a horse.
Right.
Then the camel gets up, they say, okay, lean back as far as you can, because the camel comes up on its hind legs first. So you feel like you're going to take a nosedive over the camel's head. And then about that time, he pulls his front legs up.
Wow.
And we didn't go trotting or hitting on a desert safari or anything. We just did a little walking around the compound there.
Yeah. Wow. Anything else of interest that you see? You're not in any kind of danger, are you? You haven't heard any bombs or artillery or anything like that?
We've heard several jets go over, high flying jets, right after the bombing started. But we're in a real nice 7-star hotel here. We've been restricted to the hotel for 5 days.
Wow.
But so the food's getting a little tiring, and
yeah, I bet.
The lack of activities. We did get out of the hotel yesterday and did a little souvenir shopping.
Nice.
But other than that, we're playing bingo with our group, hanging out by the pool. They've got a couple of nightclubs here. There's like 5 restaurants here, and they've got a large rotating restaurant on the top floor.
Nice. Very nice. Kind of like the Bonaventure in LA and the Peachtree in Atlanta.
Seattle, yes.
We're talking with Charlie Wilmot, one of the pillars of Honor Flight, a badass Marine who served in Vietnam and is in Abu Dhabi with his lovely wife, Mary, as they celebrate their almost 70 days of marriage. Because they extended your trip beyond the time that you wanted to be there, is that on their expense or yours?
It is. It is all on their expense.
Nice.
And, we will. There was also a 4-day Arabian sea cruise involved, but that got canceled.
Oh, that's too bad.
As soon as bombs started falling.
Yeah,
but
sure.
we feel safe.
Good.
And secure. There's a lot of security around the hotel.
I bet.
Everywhere you go. It's not people in uniform and guns. They're just dressed nicely. You know them. They're in suits and nice dresses and all. They're personnel.
Yeah. Tell us about, I'll leave you with this. Tell us about Dubai. Is it as gorgeous as the Kardashians and all the celebrities that go there claim?
Oh my gosh. We just found it totally amazing. I know we're Facebook friends, Ralph. You get a chance, go on my page. I got all the architecture posted, the camel ride, and various things like that.
Well, good. I absolutely will check it out. I'll check it out. Well, it's good to hear your voice. It's good to hear that you and Mary are safe and not in harm's way. And I guess enjoy your honeymoon, your extended honeymoon.
We are. We will have a different story than we originally thought we would.
No kidding.
As I mentioned, we're safe. We want to thank all of our friends and families for all their thoughts, prayers, and concerns.
Absolutely.
For our safety, and just let the community and everyone know that we're doing good.
Good. Outstanding. I definitely will pass that along. It's great to hear your voice. Glad to hear that you're safe. It'll be a good day when you get back on American soil.
I appreciate this, Ralph. And a shout out to Lily Marsh and all my Honor Flight family.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Hey, I hope to see you at our golf tournament on March the 23rd, our Honor Flight 4th Annual Honor Flight Open.
For any type of tournament on American soil.
Doggone Skippy. Doggone Skippy. All right, be safe, Charlie. Thanks for coming on the program and talking with us.
Ralph, I love you, man.
Love you too, Pop. Take care. Say hi to Mary for me as well.
I will do.
All right, man.
Bye.
All right. Charlie Wilmot and his lovely wife, Mary. We should have put her on the phone. Got her thoughts as well. Wow. Well, at least they're safe. I thought they were possibly could be caught up in something, but
Sounds like they're having a pretty damn good time. Now they're getting out of the hotel and it's on the folks of Abu Dhabi. Shoot. All's well that ends well, kind of. I bet he was getting a little stir crazy and eating hotel food for 5 straight days, but, you know.
What are you going to do, though?
What are you going to do? Yeah, you're in the United Arab Emirates. Wow. I wish I had that kind of imagination when thinking of vacations. I'm just trying to get to Spain. And now I've crossed that off my list because we don't get along with Spain anymore. So now it's Greece and maybe back to Europe. I think I'd like to go back to Switzerland, where I went when I was 17. But Greece and Italy are now my big next 2 stops. Got to do it. And now might be a really good time because I'm flush. F-L-U-S. Quick time out. We'll come right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the Monday Armstrong and Getty shows of
Messmaker.
We all are wondering what's next for Iran. How long will the war last? Stay with us. We'll bring you up to date.
Yeah, now that Trump has declared unconditional surrender is the only option, where does this go? And then all the other news of the day that happens over the weekend, we'll have it for you on Monday with the Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
For those of us old folks that are facing retirement, now is a really good time to be invested with Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. With the Iranian war going on, we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. But one thing I do know is being invested with the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors certainly gives you a soft landing when the economy goes like a roller coaster, like I think it might be, maybe throughout the spring and maybe into the summer. So give Daniel Petrie a call. If you're in your 50s or 60s and retirement is inevitable, call him at 395-9400. That's 395-9400. His office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Of course, every Thursday at 4:30, he appears right here on the Ralph Bailey Show. Again, Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or NP, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time. Our views.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here for King Door Company. I had my garage installed over 20 years ago and it still works like the day it was installed. So I know all about King Door's quality products. But let's talk service. At King Door Company, it's an obsession. Whether you're having your garage door installed, serviced, or repaired, you can count on King Door Company to do it right. And it all starts with training. All King Door techs have been through the King Door Academy, an training center where technicians study the very latest in garage door technology so that when they show up at your house, they have all the experience and product knowledge they need to take care of your garage door. They really are the state of the art. And when you pair that expertise with King Door's legendary customer service, you get a service experience that can't be beat. So whether you need a new garage door or just service on an existing door, regardless of who built or installed it, count on the pros at King Door to do the job right. Just call 397-2744 or check them out on the company with the pride of a lion.
The playoff chase is heating up as the Condors host the Tucson Roadrunners for 2 games this weekend. Tonight, it's a $3 Beer Friday with Michelob Ultra and Mango Cart just $3 till the start of the second period. It's also Faith and Family Night, presented by Michael K. Brown Landscaping and Kern Pools, with a performance by the Bakersfield Worship Project. Tomorrow is First Responders Night with an emergency vehicle parade, presented by 5-0 Driving School and Eyewitness News. Doors open at 6. The puck drops at 7. The fun starts at $15 at condorstown.com or by calling 324-POP.
This is Condorstown.
Trucordia, a new name but a trusted partner for Kern County businesses. At Trucordia, we provide business solutions that include comprehensive commercial insurance and proactive risk strategies to help protect your company and keep operations running smoothly. We also offer benefit solutions with flexible options for both businesses and individuals, by easy online tools and hands-on local service that makes everything simpler. For guidance you can count on, call Don Coons at 661-401-2280. Trucordia, building trust.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Reach out out for me. Reach out for me. So they had the celebration of life for Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. And in some respects, it was kind of a bizarre funeral, as I think most celebrations of life for people who are bigger than life are, because it draws a lot of celebrity attention, and celebrities just can't help themselves. They just can't, particularly celebrity politicians. They just can't help themselves. It was remarkable to watch how Clinton was there, Biden was there, the Bushes were not there, which I guess, I don't know. Barack Obama was there, obviously being from Chicago and being the only black president in the history of this country. He got the largest round of applause. And much to his credit, I must admit, he was the only one, including Bill Clinton and Joe Biden, who, again, I repeat, Jill and Hunter are worthless. They really are, because there's no way in the world I would let my father at that age go out and speak to the public. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. If I had to have him committed. He sounded horrible. He's slurring. He sounds like he's drunk, and it's just old age. I don't think he's drinking. It just sounds like old age. And he's still the old Joe, where he does the whole, the Joe bit, where he'll be, and Jesse Jackson was a force. He was a force. He's doing that old Biden shouting thing, and it just doesn't work, Joe. Why won't somebody tell him, dude, that's like what does he do? It's startling. Stop it. It didn't work when he was a president and doesn't work now. And it's just feeble and old. But who else was conspicuously not there is Michelle Obama, who was from Chicago, born and raised. Her husband started his career in Chicago. They met in Chicago. And Jesse Jackson, I can't really compare it, other than maybe what Dr. King is to Atlanta, Edgar Allan Poe and Babe Ruth are to Baltimore. And Michael Jordan is to Chicago, even though he only lived in Chicago when he played for the Bulls. He certainly doesn't live in Chicago now. But there are certain people that mean certain things, like Fernando or Shohei will be to LA 10, 15 years from now. Well, that's Jesse's significance with Chicago. They're one and the same. It's where he started the Rainbow Coalition. It's where he started the Push movement. It's where his church was. And if you died if you were black and you were prominent and you died between 1972 and 1990, you could rest assured that Jesse Jackson was giving the eulogy. I mean, he gave the eulogy at Jackie Robinson's funeral. I think he gave the eulogy at Muhammad Ali's funeral. Like I said, if you were prominent from 72 to 90, Jesse was going to give the eulogy. And that's how powerful a man he was. He really was. I've told you the story, the great opportunity that I had to spend 45 minutes with the man. I was friends with Maxine Waters, chief of staff. He was a kid that I grew up with named Mike Davis. And he was the guy that told me in 1988 that Bill Clinton was going to be president. And I stupidly told him, which history supported my prognostication, but I told him, Mike, you have lost your mind. Nobody from Arkansas makes it to the White House. Nobody has, and nobody ever will. And I couldn't have been more wrong. And he had connections with the Jackson camp and got me an interview with Jesse Jackson. It was supposed to be 20 minutes long. It ended up being 45 minutes long. For whatever reason, Kim Fields and her mother were in the trailer. It was in a trailer in the parking lot of the CNN parking lot in Atlanta during the '88 convention. And it was a big deal because Jesse was a big deal at the time. He had about 350, 400 delegates. And he came into the convention telling Michael Dukakis, who was the presumed nominee, I'm not certain I'm going to give you my delegates. And if Jesse hadn't turned over his delegates, Mike Dukakis would not have gotten to the number, whatever it was, 1190, 1200, whatever the number was, to get the nomination.
And if you don't have enough delegates to get to the nomination, I hope you understand how this works, then it goes to the floor. It literally goes to the floor where you have to go state by state, and each state gets to determine give their delegates to. Now, I'm not even trying to imply somehow Jesse Jackson could have wrestled away Michael Dukakis' support and ended up being the 1988 nominee. No, America was not, I repeat, America was not ready for a black president in 1988. That was not going to happen. But if Jesse had walked out, it would have been just a long, deliberated process. And so, as I've told you, my managing editor stole my interview and wrote the story on Jackson. And I ended up writing about the Troika, is what I called it, the relationship between Lloyd Benson, who was also challenging, who would inevitably be the vice president nominee, and Dukakis, who was the governor of Massachusetts at the time, and Jesse. And would Jesse turn his delegates over, which obviously he inevitably did. But he was a huge player. And I don't think young people like Chris or that generation, 35 and under, really know what a celebrity Jesse was and what a power force he was after his political career. Whereas I think you could objectively analyze, he was an extortionist. I think you would dub it, black folks and liberal Democrats would dub it a good extortionist, but he was an extortionist where he would go to Coca-Cola, he would go to Texaco and say, you have a very poor diversity record here. You've got no blacks in your company. And if you don't start hiring some black folks, or at least make a commitment to hire black folks, we're going to boycott you. Because this was right in the wake of the apartheid boycott, which did help end apartheid. So Jesse was feeling himself in the late 80s, coming off his 88 presidential campaign and having had some major corporations bowed out to him. I think Texaco was one. I think Coca-Cola was one, based in Atlanta. And then he started getting into international politics when he brought back Robert Good. Remember the Navy pilot, the black Navy pilot that was downed? And I think it was the first Bush administration that couldn't get him back. And Jesse went over there, very controversially, he went to Syria and got this guy released. And he was pummeled by the Republicans who said he was circumventing the president and cutting the legs out from our executive branch and our leadership and doing these independent deals. But he did it like 3 different times. And, obviously the families that were the benefactors of that thought Jesse was the best thing since deodorant. But he was a very, very powerful man. And he had his foibles, as all powerful leaders do. You got a phone call?
I do, yeah, but we have less than a minute.
All right, tell them to hang on. I'll be back. We head into the half hour. We've got a phone call. Somebody, what do they want to talk about?
Golf. It's Daily Dave.
Oh, Dave, hang on. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go hit balls tomorrow, but I'm playing with Mark Swaim and the boys Sunday morning. In fact, Mark, when are you guys playing? Are you playing at 8 or 7? Please let me know. As we head into the final half hour of the week, it's TRBS right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Randy.
News Talk
Dude, I'm
96.1
telling you.
and AM 1180 KER.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Donald Trump says he will not seek a deal with Iran without the country's unconditional surrender, as Washington warning bombing campaign that officials said would be the most intense of the week-long conflict. Israel said it had begun a broad wave of strikes on the Iranian capital early Saturday. As Israeli warplanes bombed Beirut and Tehran, Iran launched more retaliatory strikes against Israel and Gulf countries on the 7th day of the war. Many thunder-like booms rumbled over Jerusalem just past midnight local time, as Israel said it was working to intercept missiles launched from Iran. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 453 points, the Nasdaq dropped 361, the S&P declined 90. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. He's a man of much experience. Bakersfield's new police chief is Brent Stratton. That announcement was made today by the department, and he replaces retiring Chief Greg Terry May 1st. 22 years with Bakersfield PD. Stratton says that's been his dream job. He's been in many of the departments and units, including patrol, SWAT, the gang unit, investigations, and internal affairs. A man died in a wreck just before 5 this morning on Highway 43 near Orange Street, south of Shafter, when the Toyota Corolla that he was driving hit the back of a semi-truck and immediately caught fire. The man was pinned inside. The Highway Patrol says they don't know yet if drugs or alcohol were factors in that wreck. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. 9898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free Gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Our show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
So I'm not defending this woman. Yes, her attitude probably stinks because, well, she's from Bakersfield. Two, she's got to put up with dumb people calling 911 because, well, she's from Bakersfield. Which leads me to my other question. Who in the hell still calls 911 in this community? Expecting somebody's going to actually show up to your 911 call. Let's just be real.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox. 1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What? And the house is making less. 842-537-6842. Let's get Dave in here. Is he still on hold? Dave, what's really going on, man?
Hey, brother. Glad you're playing golf again.
Yeah, I'm playing well. I think I found my swing. I really, really do. I'm going to play well Sunday. I'm going to win some money. Chris is laughing. You watch. I'm gonna talk smack on Monday that I won some money with the
The only
boys.
reason I say that is because I've heard that so many times.
No. I played well last Saturday. I think I found it. I know what it is, Dave. You know what it is? I've shortened my swing. I'm going 3/4 swing, and I'm just going up a club. So if it's 150 yards, and I'd normally hit, well, back in the day I'd hit a 7-iron. Now I'd hit a 6-iron. So now I'm hitting 5-iron from $150, which is crazy. But it's just a little quarter swing. I'm not getting a parallel. I'm just right here, and then quiet legs, and just bam, and just accelerating. And it's embarrassing that I'm hitting 5-irons from 150 yards, but
it don't matter.
It is what a TI is. Maybe 6-iron. Maybe
smart golf. Hey,
Yeah.
Just wanted to compliment you on last month, History Month. So interesting.
Thank you.
And then, of course, you always finish with your dad, which is a great story. And
Actually, this is the first time I've ever done that.
really, no, you've worked him in before, though, right?
I don't think so. Oh, I did do it before?
I don't know if you've ended it with your dad before, but you've definitely done your dad before.
Did I? Okay. You guys know better than
But
I do.
Anyway, so yesterday I'm at lunch with my dad. He's 98 years old, and I'm thanking
Oh,
him
cool.
for where he put me. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So it was just kind of a nice thing. But we need to get your book going, man. Every time you bring up a story, you're smoking with Arnold cigars.
Yeah.
You're hanging with the Reverend, you know, you're doing this. You need to start compiling that together because we just got to make it happen, man.
I actually
think you got
have.
a very interesting book, and if you did some of the proceeds to Honor Flight,
Yeah.
well, you know, it'd be a great thing.
You're probably right. It probably could sell here locally. I don't know outside of Bakersfield or Kern County, but you know, actually, because of you and others who have suggested this, about a year ago, I started just messing around, not really writing anything, but just kind of doing an outline of my life and just going through the highlights of my life. Like I mentioned, going up to Sacramento and hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger while he was governor, and being under the wing of Kevin McCarthy for so long until we kind of had our differences, and meeting Muhammad Ali when I was working at CNN and working for Jeffrey Weiner, who's an award-winning news director, and the people that I came in contact with when I was at CNN, both in Atlanta and Los Angeles. You're right. So I have chronicled it on a.
You need a chapter with school kids, man. How about all the school kids that you hung out with and their parents were like rich and famous or movies or whatever? I mean, that's a whole chapter.
Yeah, my childhood is that used to be what I used to do when I would try to impress girls when I was young. I would just kind of flip through my yearbook and show them all the incredible celebrities and kids of celebrities who I did go to high school with. It is of the two high schools that I went to. It's kind of shocking. It really is.
Or write them poems from already.
Yeah.
I always love that story.
Yeah.
I always love that story.
Yeah.
Hey, but great month of February. I always love listening to the thing. You know, you're paying a lot of respect to the Reverend, and just I hope you have a great game. But you're on the right track.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. What are we gonna play?
I'll get out there with you. You know what I did this week?
What's that?
I shot a 72. You know how I did that?
How'd you do that?
I hit about 60 balls on the putting green, then I hit 12 balls on the driving range. So I shot a 72.
Very good. Well, we got to get out there sometime, Dave. I'd love to play with you.
I will. I'm. Let me know if you're still trying to get some of the guys in your group for the 23rd.
I will. I'll figure out. We'll talk with management. We haven't sat down yet and figured out what we're doing.
Yeah, I'll call in. I'll call in and try to score and get in on it. If not, I may try to. You know, I showed up one time and laid down some money and got in. So
we appreciate that.
I'm still thinking about it.
Well, good. We want to get you out there. It'd be fun to play with you. It really would be.
I appreciate that.
All right, buddy.
And, you know what I always say? Tee it high and let it fly.
Let it fly. All right, man. Have a good weekend. Thanks, brother. Love you, man. Take care.
Round.
All right. It's our man, Dave. I don't know. It's egotistical to sit down and write a book about your life. I'm no celebrity. I'm on the radio. Who cares? You know, I don't know. But I think I have actually, I think my journey is somewhat fascinating. I really do. My background with my family, my dad growing up in Beaufort, South Carolina, and being determined at the age of 12. Because you got to remember, everything I know about my dad, believe it or not, I know through my uncle. My dad never really sat me down and talked about how he became a doctor, how someone recognized in him the ability to go to college, let alone go to medical school. It was always my uncle who told me these stories, because I lived with my uncle for about 4 years in my early 20s. And he was my favorite uncle as a child. It was a great time in my life living with my uncle. You know, you would think a young kid in his 20s would be burdened by living with his uncle. That was great. My uncle was the best. He minded his own business. I had 2 girlfriends, Sheena Lester and Kim Williams, while I lived with him. And they, spent the night. My uncle, didn't get all religious with me and say, "Oh, you can't have women in my apartment." They spent the night. They'd be like, "Hi, Irvin." They loved him and he loved them. And he's just the coolest cat in the world. And I'm still in contact with him. I talk to him. I ashamedly talk to him really more than I even talk to my mom, because he often calls me, and I talk to him about 2 or 3 times a week and check on my dad's older brother, Pee Wee, Charlie. And it was a great period in my life, to be honest with you. I wasn't paying rent, first of all, which made it kind of carefree. And because I was making $275 a week at the LA Sentinel. And then I worked over at Coast Media Newspapers. I think I was making $350 a week. I was taking home like $700 every check. And I was telling Randy this recently. He was like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "I don't know how I survived." He says, "Yeah, because back in those days, rent was like $300 a month." And he's right. He's right. It was a completely different world. But yeah, my childhood is kind of interesting. Just all the celebrities, kids that I went to high school with. I mean, you've heard me talk about. I remember the first day at Buckley. I was sitting next to Leslie Landon, Michael Landon's daughter. And then I got to know Cliff Martin, who was Quinn Martin's son. Quinn Martin was the guy that did all the investigative television shows of the 70s that my dad loved. He did Barnaby Jones. He did FBI. He did Cannon. He did just all those CBS shows. I went to high school with the Disneys. Tim Disney was in my grade. Susan was older. Roy E. Disney Jr., because they were the children of Walt's brother. Roy Sr. was their dad, who took over for Walt when he died. And Roy Sr., who was a good soccer player, ended up being like a philandering, well, not a philanderer, but he was just a sailor. He just spent the Disney money. Susan became an activist. Abigail became a LGBTQ activist. She was a lesbian. And I don't know what Tim ended up doing. Went to high school with Jack LaLanne's kid. I told you the story. One of the few, I very rarely impressed my dad, but one of the few times I actually could see on my dad's face that I impressed him. We were at a sports banquet. I think I was in 10th grade. And my parents never really paid attention to my being an athlete, and they never really came to my games. I've told you this. The only time my father ever saw me play football is when I lied to him and told him we needed a doctor or we wouldn't have a season, and he became our team physician that year. It's the only time he ever saw me play football. And we were at a sports banquet, and my dad went with me, and John LaLanne was on our team. So Jack LaLanne was there with his wife. And do you remember what his wife's name is, Chris? Jack LaLanne's wife?
Isn't it Elaine LaLanne?
Elaine LaLanne.
Elaine LaLanne.
Swear to God, look it up. Jack LaLanne's wife is Elaine. Her name was Elaine LaLanne. And they were there at the banquet. And we're sitting there about to have dinner. And Mr. Lane walks in with his wife, and he stops at our table. And he goes, "You know you're going to get the MVP today on our JV football team, because that run you did against Flintridge was outstanding. Nice job, Ralph." And he walked to his table. And Jack LaLanne in the 70s was still on television. I don't know if Chris has no idea what we're talking about, but Jack LaLanne had a television show where he would come on and he would do exercises, and you were supposed to do exercises with him. And he had his little white dog that he would bring to Buckley in the shot. And he was on television in the 70s. He was a television star, as well as being this exercise freak who would do these phenomenal feats on his birthday. You remember these guys? Where he would he would go to Alcatraz, and he would put rope in his teeth and swim from Alcatraz to the bay with boats tied back and swim it. You remember that? I swear to God, am I making this up? Because I could be making this up. My memory's so bad, but I'm serious. That's what he would do on his birthday. So he was incredibly fit. And I remember as he walked by and said, "You're going to win the MVP today, Ralph, because that run you made against Flintridge Prep was outstanding, son. Congratulations." And I looked over at my dad, and his eyes were big as plates. And he was like, "How the hell you know Jack LaLanne?" I said, "That's his son, Dad. He plays on my football team. You'd know that if you came to one of my games. He's on our football team. He's the second baseman on our baseball team. But you don't really come to my baseball game." That's how I used to get at my dad. I would tell a story, but in telling the story, I would give him a little dig. I'd be like, "You would know John LaLanne. He's a really nice guy, Dad. If you just, came to my baseball games, saw me play, you'd know. In fact, you'd know Jack, because he comes to all of his son's games." My dad would bark, Well, he doesn't have patients to look after. All he's got to do is this in the morning. All you got to do is jump on a chair and do exercises. I've got patience. I understand, Pop. Relax. But I don't know about writing a book, though. What do you think, Chris? Anybody?
I mean, you do
anybody
have
buy
a lot
my-
of really good stories.
Anybody buy my book?
Locally.
George's book is selling well.
Yes, it is.
Although George is much more fascinating. George, our good friend George Culver, much more fascinating than I am, but who knows? And that's a good idea from Dave to give the money to Honor Flight. I don't need the dough. Oh, I need the dough. Why don't I need the dough, Chris?
Because you're flush.
I'm flush. 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 If you weren't with us at the top of the show, I got scammed and literally emptied out my checking account to a pair of scammers who posed as Chase representatives. It'd been now 7 days, and I went to my email this morning and opened up my email, and it said, there is a letter for you from Chase. I didn't even open up the letter. I went straight to my account, and there were digits that were just beautiful to read because we just got paid the other day, and my money that was scammed that I absolutely gave away was returned to me. And I was just telling Chris, I really might be at the Golden West Casino tonight. I really might. Just 2 bills. Just blow 2 bills. That's a good 4 or 5 hours of poker playing. Chris tells me I should go down to the Hard Rock, but they don't play poker, and I'm not going to drive 20 minutes to play blackjack. You know what I'm saying? You can lose $200 in blackjack in like a half an hour. You get one of those crazy dealers who's, 16, 20. Sorry, Mr. Bailey, 19. You know what I'm saying? But poker, it's up to you if you want to play or not. You can just throw in your cards and not play. Sit there for hours. I can make $200 last for 4 or 5 hours at least. It's just fun. I know some of the guys down there. They're regulars down there. I haven't been down there in a long time. You guys remember about 4 or 5 years ago, I was down there like twice a week. And then I went on this bad run where I lost $200. And I lost $200. And then I extended my own personal limit where I said I'm only going to spend $200, and I lost $300, and I lost it consecutively. And that's when I retired. Haven't been back since. I played in Vegas, but I've been to the Golden West in years. But I just might be there tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There's just no way in the world I'm going to go home tonight and watch Love After Lockup. Why am I not going to stay home tonight, Chris?
Because you're flush.
I'm flush! Quick time out, wrapping up the week. It's TRBS. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. And, of course, our man Scott coming up. Not Cox, but Scott. Oh, I'm blacking out on his last name.
Hanson? No, it's not Scott.
No, it's Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings.
Yeah,
Scott Jennings. Really talented cat. Check him out at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KE.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm getting itchy. There's no way I can just go home tonight. There's just no way.
To be honest, I
Sit
didn't
around
expect you
and
to.
watch Love After Lockup? But it's a Friday night. It'll be freaking packed. Packed. That's another thing about Golden West that I've never understood. I mean, you see some people in there that are there like 3 or 4, like when I was going regularly, you would see them every time I was there. So I'm like, how do you afford to do this? Like 3, 4 times a week.
Retirement money.
And I'm like thinking, these people, some of them are young. And I'm looking at some of these people, I'm like, there's no way that guy makes more money than I do. No way in the world. And I can't afford to be here 3-4 nights a week. How can these guys? And that's another thing that's horrible about, they don't give a damn because it's 4-2, 2-4. So they don't care. They'll play 3-5, they'll play 10-7, they'll play crazy stuff. And then 2 10s come up, they play 10-7, and 2 10s come up, and all of a sudden they got trips. And then they turn up their cards, and I'm like, you played 10-7? I won, didn't I? All right, what do we do today? Let's do Charlie. I wish we could use some audio. 3, 2. It was outstanding to actually hear from Charlie Wilmot, one of the pillars of Honor Flight, a guy that makes Honor Flight work. He's been on 20 different trips taking our veterans back to D.C., but it was good to hear that he and his wife, Mary, are happy and safe in Abu Dhabi, where they were spending their honeymoon. They're trapped there till the 13th of March, but it's on the hotel. They're in Abu Dhabi, and most importantly, they are safe. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Monday TRBS. Well, it's a Monday, so our good friend Dr. Jeet Singh will join us, and of course, Kathy Abernathy at 4, and I'll tell you about my weekend as well. All that, plus me at 3, TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN. I'll see you Monday.
Before you face the financial, legal, and emotional weight of pulling the trigger, there's a smarter option. Byrna, that's BYRNA. Byrna makes less lethal launchers that fire tear gas and kinetic, designed to stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes, giving you time to escape and call for help without deadly consequences. Their best-selling compact launcher is sleek, slim, and incredibly powerful. About the size of a smartphone, it's ideal for concealed carry, comfortable, discreet, and confidence building. It fires at 400 feet per second with serious stopping power, enough to shut down a threat fast without the legal and moral complexity of lethal force. Byrna is proudly over 85% of components are U.S. sourced, and every launcher is hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. With over 750,000 sold worldwide, Byrna is best in class, and it's legal in all 50 states. No background checks, shipped straight to your door. Visit Byrna.com today and find the right launcher for your family. That's BYRNA.com.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 90.
If you guys are a client of their collective, tell them I gave them a shout out. I love those guys. They are good to me. They're really good people. Jay Dan and his dad, I got to meet them. And again, I don't understand why the city, people's feelings about marijuana smoking has changed radically. And, I used to never talk about it on the air. Now I'm 63 years old. I don't give a damn. You can judge me if you want. You call me a drug addict, whatever. But I've been smoking weed off and on since I was 16, 15 years old. It's how we rationalized partying as kids, because we thought we were athletes, so we didn't drink like the other kids, because every party that we'd go to there'd be a keg and there'd be liquor, and we were like, nope, not doing it. Because we played on Saturdays. We didn't play on Friday like most LA schools. We don't have lights, so we had to play on Saturday afternoons. And so our release was marijuana, and everybody in the 70s was smoking it. And the only time I never smoked, there was a 6-year period where I didn't smoke weed, and that's when I was on television and when I worked for the Californian, because you had to pass a drug test. It's the only time I've ever stopped smoking weed in my life was those 6 years. The 1 year I was with the Californian, and in the 3 years I was at 23, and the 3 years I was at KBAK. It's the only time I stopped smoking weed. And maybe that's why my memory is so bad. I think it's partly old age. Maybe it's partly THC. But I think people's opinions, in fact, the Trump administration just reclassified marijuana for the first time. It's no longer in the ridiculous category of heroin and cocaine. That's been it's the 21st century, and it just got done literally in this term, not in 16. He just reclassified it. So why the city and the county won't get involved in this and organize it, make some money out of it, I don't know. but Highway 99 Collective is one of the better. I'm done with 420 Kingdom. These guys are much, much better and just really nice guys and really good business folks. They deliver, and just want to give them a quick shout out. We got some breaking sporting news. Did you see this, Chris? You're the sports guy. I bet you talked about this morning. Ex-Michigan coach Sharon Moore reaches a plea deal. I'm just going to read what I have here. Former Michigan football coach Sharon Moore pleaded no contest to 2 misdemeanor charges Friday as part of a plea deal. Moore pleaded no contest to a charge of malicious use of a telecommunication device in a domestic relationship and trespassing, both misdemeanors. If you're not familiar with this story, Sharon Moore was the head coach of Michigan after Jimmy Cagney.
Jimmy Johns?
Jim Neighbors.
Jim Norton.
I know too many Jims. Yeah. Jim Harbaugh. When Jim Harbaugh went to L.A., was his handpicked guy. And he had life by the tail. But he had one problem. He had a mistress who he worked with and promoted. And he was a very, very married man. And, you know, the sad thing about it is Michigan State knew all about it. Michigan knew all about it. University of Michigan knew all about it. And they absolutely ignored it until it became unavoidable. It was the worst kept secret in Ann Arbor. And when he got whacked, he went nuts and went to her house and invaded her home saying, "You've ruined my life," because she was trying to break up with him. The reason it spilled over, because again, University of Michigan was lending a blind eye. The only reason it erupted is because she was trying to the mistress was trying to break up with him and he wasn't having it. And so she finally had to turn to the university and say, "Hey, look, I'm willing to fess, but you got to get this guy away from me." And when he got whacked, he went to her house, broke in, and said, "What have you done to me?" Well, he pleaded it down, and as I just read, they lessened the charges. Fortunately for him, because he was facing felony charges. He was arrested in December, shortly after being fired for cause by Michigan due to an inappropriate relationship. Moore allegedly confronted the woman with which he engaged in the inappropriate relationship after his firing. Moore was accused of going to the woman's house, grabbing butter knives and kitchen scissors, and threatening to take his own life, according to prosecutors. Police eventually charged Moore with third-degree home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering, or entering without breaking. All 3 of those charges were dropped as part of the plea deal. And again, it's our crazy judicial system where prosecutors want slam dunk prosecutions. So if you're willing to plead out to something lesser, they can wrap the whole thing up. But he should have been found guilty of home invasion, because I don't think there's any question. He broke the door down. There's all kind of pictures. He scared that poor girl to death. You know, she's in her late 20s, just trying to make something of herself, and fell in love with this guy. And then when she wanted to break it off, he wasn't having it. And he was willing to ruin his whole life and career over this young woman. Just amazing what this species, the male gender, will do when not thinking with this head, if you know what I'm saying. That's going to do it for us. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Have a great weekend. We'll wrap to you Monday.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says there will be no deal struck with Iran except unconditional surrender. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
In response to the Iranian president's statement that some countries have begun mediation efforts to end the war, President Trump said Iran's surrender will be the only acceptable outcome. He wrote online that after a new leader is selected, the United States and its allies will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction. And he promised that Iran will be economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Some Gulf nations are showing discontent for the lack of notice about the strikes on Iran. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The Trump administration is confronting mounting discontent from allies in the Persian Gulf, who are complaining they were not given adequate time to prepare for the torrent of Iranian drones and missiles.